The night was unnatural. The kind of night that makes seasoned hunters pause mid-step, senses screaming that the world is no longer following the rules. Sam and Dean Winchester were driving through a lonely stretch of highway in the Impala, the tires humming on the blacktop, radio static crackling like a warning. The motel from earlier, a quiet, anonymous stop in a small town plagued by missing persons, was behind them, but the unease lingered. Sam had been feeling it all day, a pressure in the air, a stench of sulphur, and whispers in his head that weren't his own. Dean glanced at him. "You okay, Sammy? You look like you just saw a ghost." "I don't think it's a ghost," Sam said, voice low. "Something worse. Something big." Dean smirked nervously, fingers drumming on the steering wheel. "Yeah, well, we handle worse all the time. What's the worst that could happen on a Tuesday night?" Before Sam could answer, the world around them seemed to fracture. The stars outside the windshield stretched and warped, the air thickening like honey, and the temperature dropped drastically. A low hum reverberated through the car, deep enough to rattle the bones. Then, with no warning, a flash of blinding light tore through the darkness. Dean slammed on the brakes, tires skidding on the asphalt, and the Impala fishtailed to a halt. From the center of the light emerged a figure. At first, Sam and Dean saw only shadows, but the shadows coalesced into a man. Not just any man. A presence so overwhelmingly powerful that the brothers instinctively stepped back, weapons drawn. He was impeccably dressed, elegant yet terrifying, with an aura that seemed to bend the air itself around him. His smile was perfect, sinister. "Lucifer Morningstar," Sam whispered, though no one had asked him to identify the being. The man stepped forward casually, as if strolling into a living room rather than onto a deserted highway in the middle of nowhere. "Ah, I do love dramatic entrances," he said, voice smooth, confident, with an edge that could cut through steel. "Though I must say your welcome committee leaves much to be desired." Dean tightened his grip on the Colt, a bead of sweat sliding down his temple. "You're Lucifer, the Lucifer, son of God, prince of hell, and you're here. Why?" Lucifer laughed, a sound that seemed to echo inside their skulls. "Why? Because I grow bored of my own playground. Heaven has become tedious, hell predictable, and I've heard whispers of your little universe, full of chaos and strife, full of hunters and monsters, of demons who pretend to be clever. I wanted to see it for myself." The hum of energy around him grew, a pulsing force that made the hairs on Dean's arms stand on end. Sam felt it in his chest, a cold, suffocating presence that made the world seem smaller, fragile. He could sense it even before seeing the flames that began to lick at the edges of the asphalt, curling in unnatural shapes around the approaching figure. "You don't belong here," Sam finally managed, voice trembling despite himself. "This world, it's not yours. Leave before you destroy it." Lucifer's smile widened and he tilted his head. "Destroy it? Oh, my dear Samuel, that would be far too easy. No, I came to play, to disrupt, to see what happens when the hunters think they are kings." Dean growled and pulled the Colt up, aiming directly at Lucifer's chest. "I don't care if you're the devil incarnate. We've taken down worse than you. We're not afraid of you." Lucifer's eyes flickered, amber fire dancing beneath perfect calm exteriors, and the air shimmered around him. "Brave, amusing," he said, and then, with a flick of his wrist, the ground erupted. Flames licked up the highway like serpents, and the Impala skidded violently as the tires caught fire. Dean barely managed to keep the car upright, swearing under his breath. "What the hell?" Dean shouted, breathless. Lucifer stepped closer, each movement deliberate, almost languid. yet impossible to ignore. I didn't come here to fight you yet, not personally, but let's see how fragile your little balance truly is. He raised a hand, and every phone in the nearby town began ringing simultaneously. Doors slammed open and windows shattered as unseen forces hurled objects skyward. The world around them bent like reality itself had been rewritten. Sam grabbed Dean's arm, eyes wide. "We need to run now." Dean turned the key in the ignition, but the engine refused to start. The Impala was dead. Nothing short of a divine hand could have killed it so completely. Dean's jaw tightened. Great, just great. Lucifer's smile turned playful, almost curious. Hunters? Brave, but always so limited. He snapped his fingers and the sky tore open above them. Crimson clouds swirled, lighting striking in patterns that spelled out ancient runes neither of them recognized. I want to see how far you will go to stop me. Consider this a test. Sam's mind raced. He had read about Lucifer, battled his manifestations in dreams, seen the warnings in Scripture, but nothing could have prepared him for this tangible, present terror. And yet, a flicker of resolve ignited inside him. Dean, we've faced impossible odds before, but this is something else. This isn't just a demon. This isn't just a warlock. This is... A deafening roar cut him off. From the shadows of the nearby woods, a massive creature erupted. Not a normal demon, not a simple hellhound, something ancient. Its skin blackened like molten stone, eyes glowing like twin furnaces. It charged with speed that defied reason, teeth snapping, claws tearing the earth apart. And then it stopped. Lucifer's hand hovered above the beast, and it froze completely, tilting its head like a dog waiting for a command. Control, he murmured almost lovingly. Everything bends when I touch it. Dean fired the Colt, aiming directly at Lucifer. The gun roared, bullets piercing through the air, but they passed through Lucifer as if he were made of smoke. The beast lunged at Dean, and the hunter rolled, barely avoiding a swipe that would have shattered bone and metal alike. Sam scrambled to grab one of the salt rounds from the dashboard, hurling it toward the creature. A burst of light and fire erupted, but it barely fazed the beast. Lucifer laughed again. Cute! But you see, Samuel, your tricks are meaningless here. I am not just in your world, I am rewriting it. Dean stumbled backward, glancing at the Impala, the world around them twisting and burning. Okay, maybe we overestimated ourselves slightly. Lucifer's voice lowered, becoming intimate, almost a whisper that traveled directly into their minds. I could end this right now. Every life in your precious little world snuffed out, but I'm curious. I want to see the fight. I want to see if you can dance with the devil and not fall. And then with the blink of an eye, he vanished. For a moment, silence returned. The flames died down, the wind stilled, the crimson clouds dispersed. Dean and Sam exchanged a look, hearts pounding, minds spinning. You're kidding me, Dean muttered. He just left. Sam shook his head. No, he's testing us, and whatever he's planning, it's bigger than anything we've ever faced. Then from the woods, another roar echoed. But this one wasn't natural. It wasn't the creature they'd just seen. This one was intelligent, malevolent, and it was coming straight for them. Dean's hand went to the Colt, but he knew, deep down, that bullets alone would not save them. Lucifer's voice rang out, carried on the wind, chilling and beautiful. Run, hunters, or stay. Either way, the game begins. And just like that, the ground beneath them shook violently as something massive emerged from the forest. A shape so enormous, so impossibly powerful, that even Lucifer himself would be proud. The brothers braced themselves. The fight for their world had begun. The forest trembled as the monstrous shape moved forward, each step cracking the earth beneath it. Sam and Dean were forced to retreat toward the impala, but it sat dead and useless, a hunk of metal that mocked their desperation. Dean's hands shook as he fumbled for his weapons, Colt, iron stakes, salt rounds, anything. Sam, meanwhile, was scanning the creature with a mix of fear and calculation. Its form was twisted, molten, jagged, yet unnervingly humanoid in proportion. Eyes like burning coals glared at them, intelligent and aware. Sam whispered under his breath, "This isn't just a monster, this is a weapon." Dean grit his teeth. "A weapon of whose? Don't tell me Lucifer just whipped this thing out of thin air." "Exactly that," Sam said grimly, the words tasting bitter. "Lucifer isn't here to fight us. He's here to see if we can survive him. And this is round one." The creature roared, and the brothers could feel the pressure of its presence in their bones. It lunged forward with unnatural speed. Dean fired the Colt, hitting its shoulder, but the bullets passed through like it was a shadow. The beast didn't falter. Dean stumbled backward, grabbing Sam's arm. "We need a plan!" Dean shouted, panic rising in his voice. Sam's mind raced. The creature was intelligent, yes, but controlled. Its attention was locked entirely on them, and the only one who could be controlling it was Lucifer. "We can't just fight it, we have to outthink it. That's the only way." Dean gritted his teeth. "Outthink the devil himself while he's toying with us? Great plan, Sammy. Real reassuring." The creature swung its massive claw, sending Dean sprawling across the ground. Sam dove, narrowly avoiding the strike, and scrambled behind the impala for cover. The forest around them seemed to bend with the creature's presence, trees splintering, rocks lifting, as if the world itself were a toy in Lucifer's hands. Then a voice, Lucifer's voice, whispered through their minds. "Impressive. You survived the first test. Barely. But survival is not victory, Samuel. You will have to do better than mere instinct." Dean yelled, "I hate the voice in my head thing. I'm not playing your games." Lucifer's laugh was soft, mocking, yet it carried an edge sharp enough to make the ground vibrate. "Oh, Dean, you love this, admit it. Chaos, danger, the thrill of a fight you can't possibly win. I can feel it, every beat of your eager little heart." Sam clenched his fists. "Lucifer, whatever you're planning, we will stop it, one way or another." The creature shifted, cocking its head at him as if mocking the words. Then, with a thought, it slammed its massive fists into the ground, sending a shockwave that hurled Sam and Dean across the road. Sam hit first, scraping his arm across asphalt, gasping. Dean landed hard against the impala, teeth clenched, lungs burning. Lucifer's voice grew louder, now echoing as if the forest itself was speaking. "Oh, my dear hunters, I didn't come here to play nice. I came to reveal truths. And the first truth, you are painfully mortal, fragile, inadequate, and yet so very entertaining." Sam's gaze snapped to the impala. If the car was gone, if they had no way to flee, then the only option was direct confrontation. But how do you fight the devil, and when his first strike comes in the form of a weapon beyond imagination? Dean struggled to his feet. "We don't run, not from this, not ever. We fight. That's what we do." He reached for his knife, salt rounds, anything. "Let's see if we can take a chunk out of your toy, Lucifer." The creature charged again, and this time Sam and Dean coordinated instinctively. Sam drew a circle of salt while Dean drew the beast's attention with thrown knives and desperate maneuvers. It roared, furious at being distracted, and smashed through the salt barrier like it was paper. But that split second bought them enough time to regroup behind some rocks. "Dean, we need to lure it somewhere confined. Trees won't stop it, but maybe a building, a church, maybe, somewhere I can sanctify before it touches us." Dean nodded, adrenaline pumping. "Lead the way, Sammy, and pray this works." They sprinted toward a dilapidated church a few hundred yards down the road, the creature in pursuit, shaking the earth with every step. Sam muttered under his breath, words of binding and protection forming instinctively. They made it to the church steps, slamming the doors shut behind them. Sam began drawing wards on the floor, candles flaring unnaturally as if Lucifer's presence tainted even the sacred space. Dean positioned himself near the doors, shotgun loaded, heart hammering. "Come on, monster. Come and get it." A silence fell. A brief, terrifying pause. Then the doors shattered from the outside, splintering wood flying. The beast stepped in, huge and molten, but stopped. Sam's wards glowed faintly, a protective barrier flickering around him. Lucifer appeared then inside the church, not physically stepping in, but everywhere at once. The temperature dropped, the candles fled, the shadows stretched unnaturally. He smiled, arms open as if embracing the entire chaos. "You see, Samuel, I could end it now. Every creature, every life, every breath you hold. But no, that would be too simple. I want you, all of you," Dean growled, lunging at the nearest piece of debris to hurl at the creature, but it moved with preternatural speed, swatting the object aside as if swatting a fly. "Damn it, Sammy, what do we do?" Sam's mind was racing through lore, through every possible spell, every possible binding, every divine loophole he'd ever learned. And then a plan formed, a desperate, impossible plan. "Dean, I think I know how to trap it, but we'll need bait. I'll draw its attention. You complete the circle." Dean blinked, horror flashing. "You want to be bait? Sammy, no, that's..." Sam cut him off. "No time, it's the only way. If we don't act now, we don't survive this night." Dean gritted his teeth but nodded. "Okay, then let's make it hurt." Sam stepped out from behind the protective circle, chanting in a voice that carried iron and fire in the words. The creature turned, sensing the shift in energy. It bellowed, molten fists pounding the ground, shaking the church foundations. Lucifer's laugh echoed, cruel and melodic. "Clever. Very clever, Samuel, but do you really think you are the one in control here?" The creature lunged. Sam dodged narrowly, feeling the heat of molten claws grazing past him. Dean, in the meantime, completed the final line of salt, muttering an additional incantation he barely understood. The circle glowed violently, light clashing with shadow, reality itself seeming to resist. The creature froze, halfway between attack and retreat. Smoke and sparks rose as the barrier held it. But then a sound worse than thunder rolled through the church. Lucifer stepped through the barrier, smiling at them, casual, untouchable. "You thought a simple human trick could contain my creation, adorable." Dean fired the Colt point blank. The bullets hit the devil, not the creature, and shattered into nothingness. Lucifer raised a hand, and the molten beast's body twisted unnaturally, claws slashing in erratic directions, smashing pews, scattering candles, shaking the church apart. Sam realized, then with a sinking heart, that this was no longer just a fight. It was a lesson, a test, and they were losing. Lucifer leaned casually against the pulpit, almost amused by the chaos. "You struggle admirably, truly, but struggle alone will not save you." The church trembled violently. Debris rained down as the molten creature roared, thrashing against the wards, its fury feeding Lucifer's amusement. Sam and Dean clung to whatever cover they could, hearts pounding. Then, as Sam finished the last line of the protective spell, a sudden, piercing scream split the air, not from them but from the sky above. The clouds parted, and a figure descended, flaming and radiant, something that neither heaven nor hell should have allowed. Lucifer's eyes flickered, not with fear, but recognition, and something darker, something personal. "So, you decided to join the party," he said, voice low, almost dangerous. Sam and Dean looked up. A being of pure divine energy hovered above the shattered church, blazing like the sun, its presence more oppressive than Lucifer's. Dean's mouth went dry. "Oh, crap! This just got way worse." Lucifer's smile disappeared, replaced by something sharper, angrier, and in that instant the hunters realized this wasn't just a fight for survival anymore. This was a war of powers beyond comprehension, and they were stuck in the middle. The church exploded in light as Lucifer extended his arms, the molten beast flaring violently behind him. The divine figure descended further, wings unfurling, energy blazing across the forest, tearing the night into fragments. And in that moment, Sam knew the first night of chaos was only the beginning. The sky split open in a fracture of crimson and gold as the divine figure hovered above the shattered church, its radiant wings stretching wide enough to blot out the stars. Sam and Dean pressed themselves against the remnants of the pews, hearts hammering, trying to make sense of the impossible. The molten creature behind Lucifer roared again, its fury feeding the devil's amusement. Lucifer's eyes, usually amber and perfectly controlled, now shimmered with a dangerous gleam. "So, another player decides to enter the stage. How thrilling! I do love surprises." The divine figure descended with terrifying grace, energy radiating in waves that made the earth quake. The air itself seemed to resist, thick and buzzing with celestial force. Its face was obscured by light, but its presence was undeniable, immense, judgmental, and unstoppable. Dean swallowed hard. "Okay, you really got to stop reading law books, Sammy. This is too much." Sam didn't reply. He was already calculating, already searching for the weaknesses, the angles, the one way to survive this first strike. "We can't just fight," he muttered, mostly to himself. "We need a strategy. One wrong move, and we're toast." Lucifer's grin was cruel. "Ah, strategy. How quaint. But remember, hunters, this isn't about survival, it's about spectacle. And you, my little mortals, are my entertainment." The molten creature leapt forward suddenly, swinging massive, molten fists, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Dean fired the Colt repeatedly, each round bouncing uselessly off the beast. Sam yelled, "Dean, get behind the altar, the wards, use the altar." Dean dove behind the pulpit as Sam scrambled to create a reinforced circle, chanting as fast as his lungs could manage. Light and shadows collided violently, flickering across the walls, illuminating Lucifer's serene, terrifying figure. The divine being landed lightly in the church's center, causing the floor beneath to crack and splinter. Its voice rang with authority, deep and resonant, echoing in the hunters' minds. "Lucifer Morningstar, your presence here disrupts the natural order. Withdraw or face judgment." Lucifer's laugh rolled like thunder. "Withdraw, my dear radiant friend? That would be so boring." He raised a hand casually, and the molten beast slammed into the divine figure with the force of a mountain. But the celestial being didn't flinch. Instead, a wave of radiant energy burst outward, knocking the beast back like a child's toy. Dean scrambled to his feet. "Holy hell, they're like gods fighting, Sammy." Sam didn't answer. He was muttering prayers, protective chants, and desperate calculations all at once. "Dean, we have to stay inside the circle. It's our only chance, even if it barely holds them back." Lucifer's amber eyes flicked towards Sam, piercing, calculating. Human courage, or is it foolishness? I can never tell the difference." He stepped closer to Sam, and the temperature around him dropped further, frost forming along the edges of broken windows. The divine figure lifted a hand, radiant energy flaring. "Step away from them, Lucifer. You will not corrupt this world further." Lucifer's expression hardened. "Corrupt? No, I am refining, I am testing, and the world, like these mortals, is woefully underprepared." With a casual flick, he sent shards of shadow slicing across the church, narrowly missing Sam, who ducked and screamed in frustration. The divine figure countered, swiping radiant energy across the shards, melting them before they could reach the hunters. Dean shouted over the chaos. "Sam, we can't survive this fight in here. We have to find some way to escape. Maybe lure them outside." Sam shook his head, eyes narrowed in concentration. "Outside? That's worse. Lucifer controls the terrain. Inside, at least the wards give us some leverage." The molten beast charged again, its molten claws crashing into the reinforced circle. Sparks flew, smoke roiling as the wards flickered under the immense pressure. Sam's voice strained as he reinforced the circle, sweat and blood streaking his face. Hold, almost." Lucifer leaned back against the wall, hands behind his head, completely relaxed. "I do admire persistence, but persistence alone is insufficient." The divine figure advanced toward Lucifer, wings flaring with blinding light. The two forces collided in the center of the church, and the resulting explosion of power knocked Sam and Dean off their feet. The floor split beneath them, beams falling like arrows, dust and flame filling the room. Dean coughed, wiping ash from his eyes. "Great! Now they're destroying the church and us." Sam groaned, trying to rise. "Dean, it's not just destruction. Look, the energy is destabilizing the wards. If we lose the circle..." Before he could finish, a burst of raw energy hit the altar, shattering the protective ward entirely. Sam and Dean were thrown backward violently, landing amid broken pews. Sam groaned, clutching his head. Dean's arm hung awkwardly, pain radiating through his shoulder. Lucifer stepped forward, molten creature at his side, voice calm and terrifying. "No more games. You survive by luck, hunters. But luck can run out, and mine is infinite." The divine figure hovered, wings glowing brighter, aura blazing. "Lucifer, you have crossed the line. Enough." In an instant, the two celestial forces collided again, energy surging outward, cracking the church and igniting the forest around it. Trees splintered, rocks exploded, and the ground shook violently. Sam and Dean struggled to stay upright, pinned under debris and ash, the heat and force pressing in on them from every side. Dean looked at Sam, eyes wide. "We can't win against them, not like this, we're dead." Sam shook his head, heart racing, determination flashing. "We may not be able to win, but we can survive the first strike. And if we survive, we learn. We adapt. That's what hunters do." A sudden, chilling voice cut through the chaos. Lucifer's, closer now, almost whispering into their minds. "Brave words, Samuel, but courage alone will not protect you. And in the coming hours, every choice you make will bend toward my amusement." The molten beast roared, sensing Lucifer's command, and surged forward once more. Sam grabbed Dean's arm. "We have to get out, now. If we stay, we die in this storm." Dean hesitated, looking at the glowing figure hovering above and the devil's smirk beside the molten monster. "Yeah, now sounds real good. Lead the way, Sammy." As they scrambled through the wreckage, another shockwave erupted from the center of the church, throwing them back again. The floor beneath Sam collapsed partially, and he caught himself on a broken beam, peering upward. Lucifer's eyes met his, and in that moment, Sam could feel it. The overwhelming, crushing certainty that the devil had anticipated every move they had made so far, every strategy, every escape route, every hope
They had been accounted for. And then Lucifer's lips curved into a terrifyingly calm smile. "Welcome to my world, hunters, and let this be the first strike." The ground shook violently as the molten creature unleashed a torrent of fire, and the divine figure countered with blinding light. Sam and Dean were caught in the middle, the force of both powers hurling them into the shadows of the forest. Branches splintered, rocks flew, and the night erupted into chaos as Lucifer's laughter echoed through the sky. "Dance, hunters! Fight, run, it makes no difference. Every path you take, every breath you draw, belongs to me," Dean groaned, getting to his knees. "I hate that we're right in the middle of the devil versus whoever the hell that is. Hate it, hate it, hate it." Sam gritted his teeth, blood trickling from his forehead. "Dean, we survive this night or we don't survive at all, but one thing's certain. Lucifer's game is only beginning, and if we make it through, the next strike will be worse." The molten creature roared again, the divine figure flaring light like a sun in the night, and Lucifer stepped forward, calm, collected, omnipotent in his amusement. Sam and Dean exchanged a grim look. They weren't just fighting monsters tonight. They were caught in a war between divine forces beyond comprehension, and every move they made from here on out could be their last. The forest burned, the sky cracked, and in the shadows, hunters realized they had stepped into a battlefield far beyond any nightmare they had ever faced. Sam and Dean crawled through the remnants of the shattered church, the acrid smell of smoke and molten stone filling their lungs. Their breaths came in ragged gasps, adrenaline still burning through their veins, each heartbeat pounding like a drum signaling war. The sky above them was a nightmare of fire and energy, crimson lightning streaking across black clouds, the forest trembling under the combined might of Lucifer and the divine figure. Dean groaned, brushing ash from his face. "Okay, recap. We're alive barely, molten monster still angry, the devil still smug, and some angel sunwings guy is hovering like he owns the place. What's the plan, Sammy?" Sam didn't answer right away. His mind was moving a mile a minute, piecing together scraps of lore, spells, and hunter instincts. He glanced around at the broken church walls, the fallen pews, and the cracked stone. "We can't fight them head on, that's suicide, but maybe we can use what we do have. Their arrogance, their focus on each other, the environment." Dean squinted. "You mean trap them? Like actual hunters level trapping?" Sam nodded. "Exactly, the wards here, combined with salt, iron, and some holy artifacts I kept in the Impala. It's our only shot at surviving the first wave, and maybe hitting back hard enough to escape their attention long enough to regroup." Dean groaned. "Great. So basically, we're bait, and the bait has a plan. Classic." Sam ignored him, moving to gather shards of broken pews and debris. "Dean, I'll need you to lure the molten beast toward the main altar again. Keep its attention while I finish reinforcing the circle. Timing has to be perfect, or it's over before we even start." Dean swallowed hard, shoulders tensing. "Right, lure a supernatural hell monster into a trap while the devil himself watches. No pressure." Lucifer's voice suddenly cut through the chaos, smooth and chilling. "Oh, hunters, how quaint! Trying to fight back with mortal tools? This should be entertaining." The molten creature roared again, sensing Dean's presence, and lunged towards him. Dean dashed forward, firing the Colt in rapid succession, bullets bouncing uselessly off its molten hide. He taunted, shouting, "Hey, ugly! Over here!" as he ran in zigzags, narrowly avoiding lethal swings. Sam finished drawing a new ward circle around the altar, chanting with a fervor that made the air vibrate. The symbols glowed, pulsing with power as if alive, pushing back against the raw energy seeping in from the battle above. Lucifer's amber eyes gleamed with amusement. I see. Human ingenuity I approve, briefly, but cleverness is a flame that burns quickly. Dean slammed into a fallen wall, barely avoiding the molten beast's swipe. Yeah, thanks for the pep talk, Lucifer. Super helpful. Sam's voice was low, commanding. Dean, keep it moving. Make it chase you exactly where I need it. Dean gritted his teeth. Copy that. Let's dance, ugly. He sprinted, darting around debris, taunting the creature while keeping it on the narrow path toward the altar. Sparks flew as molten claws ripped through shattered stone, and Sam reinforced the wards as fast as he could. The divine figure watched from above, wings unfurling like a radiant storm. Its energy washed over the battlefield, and Sam felt the protective circle strengthen. But the presence of Lucifer nearby was a constant drain, his malice bending reality. Lucifer stepped closer, molten creature obedient, at his side. So bold, so expendable, I almost admire the bravery, almost. Dean skidded around a collapsed beam, narrowly avoiding a swipe that would have crushed him. Expendable? Tell that to Sammy here, genius. Sam barely spared him a glance. He finished the last sigil of the circle. Dean, now, pull it inside the circle. Dean roared, hurling himself at the beast one last time, dodging its claws and landing perfectly inside the perimeter Sam had drawn. The molten creature hesitated, confused by the sudden constriction of energy around it. Sam finished chanting, and the circle flared, a barrier of searing light and protective sigils surrounding the altar. The beast bellowed, trapped for the first time, its molten body flaring violently. Sparks and fire arced across the circle, but it could not break free. Dean rolled, panting, giving Sam a thumbs up. Bingo! That's one for the Winchesters. Lucifer's amusement faded, replaced by a glint of something sharper, something dangerous. He stepped forward, not concerned with the trapped creature, but with them. Clever, but cleverness is no substitute for power, and I am power incarnate. The divine figure descended further, wings folding slightly, aura blazing brighter. Lucifer, enough. I will not let you harm the mortals any further. Lucifer's eyes flickered with something unreadable. He lifted a hand, and the air itself seemed to bend. Harm? No, I am shaping the world. Mortals are merely ingredients. He gestured to the trapped beast. And ingredients must be tested. The molten creature roared, striking at the boundaries of the ward circle. Fire licked the edges, the heat intense, but the circle held, barely. Sam muttered another protective spell, reinforcing the barrier as he felt his energy draining. Dean whispered, voice tense, Sam, how long can you hold that thing? Sam shook his head, beads of sweat rolling down his face. Not long, and Lucifer, he's not done. The moment I falter, we all die, and that divine figure is going to intervene, probably making things even worse. Lucifer tilted his head, smile curling. Yes, that's it. Fight, struggle. Make it dramatic. Humans always try to be heroes, always fail, always amusing. The divine figure raised its hand, and a beam of light shot downward, striking the circle. Sam braced, chanting harder, voice cracking. The molten creature screamed, caught between the devil's manipulation and the divine strike. The church floor splintered further, and Dean dodged falling debris, shotgun ready. Dean yelled, Sam, hurry! It's going to break through! Sam's voice rose in a chant, words ancient and jagged, slicing through the chaos like a blade. The circle glowed, pushing back the combined power of the molten creature and Lucifer's will. But something shifted. A ripple in the wards, small, subtle, but terrifying. Lucifer's amber eyes narrowed. Ah, Cleverer than I expected. But no matter. All games end. Every test reaches its conclusion. And your conclusion... He extended his hand toward the hunters. Dean froze. Sam's chant faltered for just a heartbeat. That's all Lucifer needed. A surge of energy erupted from his fingertips, striking the circle. The molten beast screamed, energy surging violently, cracks forming in the protective barrier. Dean lunged, tackling Sam out of the circle as the ward shattered in a brilliant explosion of light and fire. The molten creature surged forward, claws slashing the air, and the divine figure reacted instantly, flaring radiant energy to shield the hunters. Debris rained down as the battlefield erupted further, the forest ablaze, the night split between crimson lightning and holy radiance. Sam and Dean hit the ground, eyes watering from smoke and ash, breaths ragged, hearts pounding like war drums. Lucifer's voice cut through the chaos, calm, devastating, impressive for mortals. But mortals cannot contain me, not here, not ever. Dean shook his head, getting to his knees, shotgun trembling. Sam, he's right. We're screwed if we stay in this fight. Sam, coughing, blood streaked on his forehead, nodded grimly. Then we do what hunters always do. We survive, we retreat, we regroup, and we come back stronger somehow. Lucifer's eyes gleamed with amusement and almost affection. Run! Ah, yes, a perfect ending to the first strike. But remember, Samuel, every road you take, every breath you draw, leads back to me, and I will be waiting. The molten creature roared one final time, unrestrained now, and the divine figure fled, preparing another strike. Sam grabbed Dean, pulling him toward the edge of the burning forest. The hunters sprinted into the night, hearts hammering, lungs burning, and behind them the sound of chaos never ending, Lucifer's laughter echoing across the sky. For the first time in their lives, Sam and Dean realized this was no longer just another hunt. This was survival against the devil himself, and the world as they knew it might not survive. The forest, burned like hell itself, had descended. Flames licked the twisted trees, casting flickering shadows that danced across broken stone and splintered wood. Sam and Dean stumbled through the underbrush, lungs screaming, ears ringing from the thunderous roar of the molten creature and the relentless divine presence that had rained down destruction only moments ago. Dean gasped, brushing ash from his jacket. Sam, if I die tonight, I swear I'm haunting you, and not politely. Sam coughed, blood streaking his cheek, his voice hoarse but resolute. Focus, Dean. We're not dead yet. We survive this, or we die trying. Behind them, the earth shook again, a deep, resonating tremor, as if the world itself was shaking off its foundations. They dared not look back, but the sound of the molten beast roaring, Lucifer's cold laughter, and the divine figure's radiant fury was impossible to ignore. Dean skidded to a halt near a fallen log. Sam, we can't just run blindly. They know we're here. They'll hunt us. Sam's eyes flicked over the terrain, mind calculating. We need to move fast, use the terrain to our advantage. If we can make it to the old quarry north of here, we might be able to create another barrier, something stronger, something temporary. Dean groaned. Temporary? That's comforting. Nothing about this is temporary, Sammy. A sudden wave of heat forced them to crouch behind a scorched tree as another explosion of energy tore through the forest behind them. Trees shattered, rocks exploded, and the sky itself seemed to split into jagged lines of fire and light. The two hunters pressed their backs together, chests heaving. Lucifer's voice, smooth and mocking, cut through the air. Running, Samuel, already? I thought the first strike was just warming up. I was enjoying the chaos. But I suppose I must allow it. Dean muttered under his breath. Enjoying the chaos? Some people just shouldn't have hobbies. Sam shot him a glare, muttering, "Not helping." The molten creature surged again, and the divine figure followed in perfect synchronization, forcing the hunters to alter course. They ran through dense trees, over scorched earth, and across broken streams, each step tearing at their bodies, lungs burning, muscles screaming. Dean panted. "Sam, oh, we can't keep this pace. We'll collapse before we even see the quarry." Sam's gaze hardened. "We have to. It's our only shot to survive the night, and if we can survive tonight, we have a chance to fight back, to regroup, to plan." Lightning cracked above them, illuminating the devastation. Sam could see the trail of destruction left behind, the church obliterated, the forest reduced to smouldering wreckage, and the ominous glow of the molten creature in the distance, still under Lucifer's control. Dean's jaw clenched. "This is insane, insane! How do you even fight this?" Sam shook his head, determination flashing in his eyes. "We adapt, that's all we can do. The hunters always adapt. And maybe we can turn their arrogance against them." They moved cautiously toward the quarry, the night thick with smoke and the lingering energy of the divine confrontation. Every shadow could conceal an attack. Every gust of wind could carry destructive power. The world itself seemed hostile, reshaped by Lucifer's presence. Dean glanced over at Sam. "You really think we can set up another circle there, after what we just saw?" Sam nodded. "It has to be stronger this time, more layered. We combine salt, iron, protective wards, and any artifacts we can find. It won't hold them forever, but it could buy us time. That's all we need for now." The forest began to thin as they approached the quarry, the jagged edges of stone and the open space offering both danger and opportunity. Sam's hands were shaking as he began to gather materials from the surroundings, stacking rocks and drawing symbols in a careful pattern. Dean patrolled the perimeter, shotgun ready, eyes scanning for any signs of the molten creature or Lucifer. "Sam, I don't like this. We're running into their territory now, literally." "It's a trap, isn't it?" Sam's lips pressed together. "Yes, but it's a trap we choose. We create the battlefield to our advantage this time. That's all we can do." A sudden gust of wind carried Lucifer's laughter across the quarry. "Oh, clever little hunters. I do enjoy watching mortals try to outmaneuver me. It makes the victories all the sweeter." Dean growled. "I swear, if I survive this, I'm taking a vacation, somewhere far away. No monsters, no angels, no devils, just me and a burger." Sam didn't respond. His focus was absolute, tracing sigils on the jagged stone of the quarry floor, layering wards with every ounce of knowledge he had. The air crackled as energy built within the circle, a shimmering dome beginning to form around them. Dean checked the perimeter one last time. "All right, Sammy. Circle looks promising. Now what?" Sam's voice was low, steady, but edged with urgency. "We wait, we observe, and when they come, we force them into the trap. Timing is everything, and pray it works." Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time felt warped in the energy-laden air. Every sound, every movement in the night made their muscles tense, adrenaline refusing to abate. The molten creature's roar echoed from the distance, and a low hum vibrated through the stone quarry. Dean muttered, "I hate this. I hate everything about this. Everything." Sam finally allowed himself a brief glance at Dean, determination in his eyes. "We don't have a choice. We survive tonight, Dean. That's all that matters." A distant crack split the air. The molten creature emerged from the tree line, glowing fiercely, controlled by Lucifer's subtle command. Behind it, the air shimmered, Lucifer himself, stepping forward casually, the very embodiment of calm power amid chaos. Dean tightened his grip on the shotgun. "Well, here we go again." The divine figure hovered above, wings unfurled, eyes glowing with unrelenting judgment. The stage was set. Hunters trapped in the quarry. Lucifer's voice cut through the chaos, calm, devastating, impressive for mortals. But mortals cannot contain me, not here, not ever. Dean shook his head, getting to his knees, shotgun trembling. Sam, he's right. We're screwed if we stay in this fight. Sam, coughing, blood streaked on his forehead, nodded grimly. Then we do what hunters always do. We survive. We retreat. We regroup. And we come back stronger, somehow. Lucifer's eyes gleamed with amusement and almost affection. Run! Ah, yes, a perfect ending to the first strike. But remember, Samuel, every road you take, every breath you draw, leads back to me, and I will be waiting. The molten creature roared one final time, unrestrained now, and the divine figure fled, preparing another strike. Sam grabbed Dean, pulling him toward the edge of the burning forest. The hunters sprinted into the night, hearts hammering, lungs burning, and behind them the sound of chaos never ending, Lucifer's laughter echoing across the sky. For the first time in their lives, Sam and Dean realized this was no longer just another hunt. This was survival against the devil himself, and the world as they knew it might not survive. The forest, burned like hell itself, had descended. Flames licked the twisted trees, casting flickering shadows that danced across broken stone and splintered wood. Sam and Dean stumbled through the underbrush, lungs screaming, ears ringing from the thunderous roar of the molten creature and the relentless divine presence that had rained down destruction only moments ago. Dean gasped, brushing ash from his jacket. Sam, if I die tonight, I swear I'm haunting you, and not politely. Sam coughed, blood streaking his cheek, his voice hoarse but resolute. Focus, Dean. We're not dead yet. We survive this, or we die trying. Behind them, the earth shook again, a deep, resonating tremor, as if the world itself was shaking off its foundations. They dared not look back, but the sound of the molten beast roaring, Lucifer's cold laughter, and the divine figure's radiant fury was impossible to ignore. Dean skidded to a halt near a fallen log. Sam, we can't just run blindly. They know we're here. They'll hunt us. Sam's eyes flicked over the terrain, mind calculating. We need to move fast, use the terrain to our advantage. If we can make it to the old quarry north of here, we might be able to create another barrier, something stronger, something temporary. Dean groaned. Temporary? That's comforting. Nothing about this is temporary, Sammy. A sudden wave of heat forced them to crouch behind a scorched tree as another explosion of energy tore through the forest behind them. Trees shattered, rocks exploded, and the sky itself seemed to split into jagged lines of fire and light. The two hunters pressed their backs together, chests heaving. Lucifer's voice, smooth and mocking, cut through the air. Running, Samuel, already? I thought the first strike was just warming up. I was enjoying the chaos. But I suppose I must allow it. Dean muttered under his breath. Enjoying the chaos? Some people just shouldn't have hobbies. Sam shot him a glare, muttering, not helping. The molten creature surged again, and the divine figure followed in perfect synchronization, forcing the hunters to alter course. They ran through dense trees, over scorched earth, and across broken streams, each step tearing at their bodies, lungs burning, muscles screaming. Dean panted. Sam, we can't keep this pace. We'll collapse before we even see the quarry. Sam's gaze hardened. We have to. It's our only shot to survive the night, and if we can survive tonight, we have a chance to fight back, to regroup, to plan. Lightning cracked above them, illuminating the devastation. Sam could see the trail of destruction left behind, The church obliterated, the forest reduced to smouldering wreckage, and the ominous glow of the molten creature in the distance, still under Lucifer's control. Dean's jaw clenched. This is insane, insane! How do you even fight this? Sam shook his head, determination flashing in his eyes. We adapt, that's all we can do. The hunters always adapt. And maybe, we can turn their arrogance against them. They moved cautiously toward the quarry, the night thick with smoke and the lingering energy of the divine confrontation. Every shadow could conceal an attack. Every gust of wind could carry destructive power. The world itself seemed hostile, reshaped by Lucifer's presence. Dean glanced over at Sam. You really think we can set up another circle there, after what we just saw? Sam nodded. It has to be stronger this time, more layered. We combine salt, iron, protective wards, and any artifacts we can find. It won't hold them forever, but it could buy us time. That's all we need for now. The forest began to thin as they approached the quarry, the jagged edges of stone and the open space offering both danger and opportunity. Sam's hands were shaking as he began to gather materials from the surroundings, stacking rocks and drawing symbols in a careful pattern. Dean patrolled the perimeter, shotgun ready, eyes scanning for any signs of the molten creature or Lucifer. Sam, I don't like this. We're running into their territory now, literally. It's a trap, isn't it? Sam's lips pressed together. Yes, but it's a trap we choose. We create the battlefield to our advantage this time. That's all we can do. A sudden gust of wind carried Lucifer's laughter across the quarry. Oh, clever little hunters. I do enjoy watching mortals try to outmaneuver me. It makes the victories all the sweeter. Dean growled. I swear, if I survive this, I'm taking a vacation, somewhere far away. No monsters, no angels, no devils, just me and a burger. Sam didn't respond. His focus was absolute, tracing sigils on the jagged stone of the quarry floor, layering wards with every ounce of knowledge he had. The air crackled as energy built within the circle, a shimmering dome beginning to form around them. Dean checked the perimeter one last time. All right, Sammy. Circle looks promising. Now what? Sam's voice was low, steady, but edged with urgency. We wait, we observe, and when they come, we force them into the trap. Timing is everything, and pray it works. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time felt warped in the energy-laden air. Every sound, every movement in the night made their muscles tense, adrenaline refusing to abate. The molten creature's roar echoed from the distance, and a low hum vibrated through the stone quarry. Dean muttered, I hate this. I hate everything about this. Everything. Sam finally allowed himself a brief glance at Dean, determination in his eyes. We don't have a choice. We survive tonight, Dean. That's all that matters. A distant crack split the air. The molten creature emerged from the tree line, glowing fiercely, controlled by Lucifer's subtle command. Behind it, the air shimmered, Lucifer himself, stepping forward casually, the very embodiment of calm power amid chaos. Dean tightened his grip on the shotgun. Well, here we go again. The divine figure hovered above, wings unfurled, eyes glowing with unrelenting judgment. The stage was set, hunters trapped in the quarry, Lucifer at the forefront, the molten creature behind him, and the celestial being ready to strike. Sam whispered more to himself than Dean. This is it, the first night of the war. If we survive, we fight. If we fall, well, that's the end of everything we know. Lucifer's voice cut through the night, smooth and taunting. Hunters, you truly think this is your choice? Survival? Escape? You are merely players on my stage. Every move you make is part of the spectacle I have orchestrated. The molten creature surged forward, energy radiating like a storm. Sam and Dean braced themselves, the wards glowing, the circle solid for now, but trembling under the immense power. The divine figure raised its hand, light flaring in preparation to strike. Lucifer's amber eyes flickered with something darker than amusement. The night erupted. Fire, light, and energy collided in a maelstrom that shook the quarry to its very core. Dean grabbed Sam's arm. Whatever happens, we survive. Somehow, we always do. Sam nodded, fists clenched, voice firm despite the chaos. Tonight, we survive. Then we fight back. The world shattered around them, and the first segment of this war drew to a close. Lucifer's laughter echoed across the quarry, the molten creature snarling, the divine figure poised, and the hunters, Sam and Dean Winchester, stood in the eye of an apocalyptic storm, knowing that the coming days would test every limit of their courage, skill, and humanity.
The quarry was a storm of chaos. Smoke and embers swirled through the cold night air, the jagged stone edges reflecting the fires burning in the forest beyond. Sam and Dean crouched within the reinforced circle, eyes scanning the darkness, muscles taut, hearts pounding. The protective sigils glowed faintly, shimmering in the haze, holding for now, but even a flicker of hesitation could mean death. Dean muttered under his breath, shotgun clutched like a lifeline. I don't even remember what normal feels like anymore. Molten monsters, flying angels, the devil himself. Can we get a simple case next time? Sam didn't answer. His focus was absolute, tracing invisible lines in the air, muttering prayers and incantations under his breath. No, he said finally. We can't think about next time. We survive tonight, or there is no next time. The molten creature stepped into view, towering and molten, cracks in its body glowing like veins of lava. Each step shook the ground beneath them, debris skittering across the quarry floor. Its roar shattered the stillness, echoing against the jagged stone walls. Lucifer strolled casually behind the beast, perfectly composed. His smile was cold, almost predatory. Hunters, still breathing. I must admit I'm entertained, but survival is fleeting. Enjoy it while you can. Dean growled, raising the Colt. We're not just surviving, we fight. Always. You hear me, Lucifer? Lucifer's amber eyes flickered with amusement. Fight? Oh, I do love fighting, but understand this, your strength is fleeting, and the longer you struggle, the more spectacular your defeat will be. From above, the divine figure descended, wings unfurling like blazing banners. Its radiant aura cut through the smoke, illuminating the quarry like a second sun. Sam squinted through the light, trying to gauge its power. It was immense, overwhelming, like trying to comprehend a force that wasn't meant for human minds. Lucifer! The figure boomed, voice vibrating through the hunter's very bones. You have no place here. Withdraw or face judgment. Lucifer's smile widened, calm and utterly terrifying. Withdraw. No, I came for this world. I came for them, and I came to see what happens when mortals attempt the impossible. He gestured lazily at the molten creature. First strike, Samuel, but the game is only beginning. The molten creature surged forward, energy radiating outward, sparks flying from the jagged stone. Dean fired repeatedly, every bullet vanishing harmlessly against its molten skin. Sam raised a protective ward, chanting, sweat streaking his face, energy flaring as the creature's blows battered the circle. Dean ducked under a sweeping claw, rolling to his feet. Sam! Tell me we've got something stronger than this circle, because I don't think these rocks and magic are going to hold forever. Sam didn't respond immediately, focusing on the intricate patterns of wards surrounding them. It's not enough, he admitted finally, voice tight, but we can buy time, and that's all we need, for now. Lucifer's gaze shifted from the hunters to the celestial figure above, and a flash of anger passed over his face, brief, intense, human, in a way that was almost terrifying. Ah, so my friend decides to intervene. How charming, but predictable. The divine figure flared, energy cascading down like rivers of light. The molten creature's roars intensified, feeding off Lucifer's subtle commands. Sam and Dean scrambled to keep the protective circle intact, the stones glowing under the strain of clashing powers. Dean shouted, "Sam! This is insane! I mean literally insane! How are we supposed to survive this?" Sam's teeth clenched. "We adapt, we survive, that's all we can do. Dean, we have to bait Lucifer and the creature closer together. We force a clash, buy ourselves a gap." Dean's eyes widened. "You want us between them? Are you insane?" Sam nodded grimly. "It's the only way. We can't fight him directly, but if we manipulate the battlefield, maybe we can escape the first wave intact. Maybe even hurt him." Lucifer's voice, soft but chilling, entered their minds. "Planning already, Samuel? How ambitious. But ambition without power is merely theatre." Dean muttered, "Great, we're theatre now. I always wanted to be a matinee attraction." The molten creature surged again, smashing stone and earth as it closed the distance. Sam and Dean moved with practiced coordination, baiting it toward the center of the quarry where Sam's reinforced circle waited. Each dodge, each lunge was calculated. Every movement carried the tension of life and death. Lucifer's amber eyes followed, calculating. Ah, human ingenuity, impressive, briefly, but how long can it last? From above, the divine figure shifted its wings, preparing another strike. The air cracked with the pressure, vibrating through Sam and Dean's bones. Sam muttered a protective chant, reinforcing the circle, sweat streaming down his face as he balanced every ounce of energy. Dean dodged a clawed swipe, sliding across the quarry floor. "Sam! I hate this! I hate it! I hate everything about it!" Sam's gaze didn't waver. "Focus, Dean. One move at a time. We survive, then we fight back." Lucifer stepped closer, the molten creature roaring behind him. "So clever. I almost admire it. But cleverness is no substitute for power. And I am power incarnate." The divine figure descended closer, wings folding slightly, energy blazing brighter. "Lucifer, this is your final warning." Lucifer's smile hardened, flickering with dangerous intensity. "Final warning? How tedious? I prefer action." With a subtle gesture, the molten creature lunged at full force, claws slashing through the quarry like molten steel. Sam tightened the wards, holding as the energy clashed violently, sparks flying, stone shattering, air burning with divine and infernal power. Dean ducked behind a jagged boulder, shotgun roaring, trying to keep the creature distracted. "Sam, I don't know how much longer we can hold this." Sam's jaw tightened. "Dean, we must. Just a little longer. Then we use the gap. Then we act." The air thickened, vibrating with the intensity of the impending clash. Lucifer's presence loomed, amber eyes flickering with amusement and calculation. The molten creature shrieked, thrashing violently within the protective circle. Then, in a flash of divine energy, the celestial figure struck, clashing with Lucifer's control of the molten beast. The energy erupted outward, hurling the hunters across the quarry once more. Debris flew, stone shattered, and the night itself seemed to fracture. Dean landed hard, coughing, blood streaked across his cheek. This is insane." Sam struggled to rise, energy flickering in his hands. "It's working! The clash, it's destabilizing Lucifer's control over the creature, but we don't have much time." Lucifer's voice rang through the air, calm and devastating. "Impressive, Samuel, but all games end. Every test reaches its conclusion, and yours is only beginning." Dean glanced at Sam, grim determination in his eyes. So, what's the play, genius? Sam swallowed hard, chest heaving. We survive this first clash, and then we regroup. Then we fight smarter. We need to learn everything we can about him. Every weakness, every pattern. That's our only chance. The molten creature roared again, caught between Lucifer's command and the divine figure's counterstrike. Sparks and flames erupted across the quarry as the two supernatural powers collided. Sam and Dean clung to cover, every sense screaming with the magnitude of the forces around them. Lucifer's laughter echoed, sinister and omnipresent. Dance, hunters, fight, run, it makes no difference. Every path you take, every breath you draw, it belongs to me. Dean grit his teeth. I hate this. I hate this so much. Sam's gaze hardened, fists clenched. We survive. Then we plan. Then we strike back. That's all we can do. The molten creature roared, energy flaring, and the divine figure readied another strike. Lucifer stepped forward, amber eyes gleaming, the embodiment of calm, terrifying power. The night erupted again. Fire, light, and energy collided, shaking the quarry, splitting the stone, twisting the trees. Sam and Dean braced themselves. This was the first real battle of the escalation, and they knew with absolute certainty nothing would ever be the same. The quarry trembled as if the world itself were holding its breath. Sam and Dean crouched behind jagged stones, hearts hammering, lungs burning, every nerve screaming with the magnitude of the battle surrounding them. The molten creature screamed, caught between Lucifer's insidious command and the divine figure's radiant assault. Sparks, shards of rock, and fire rained down around the hunters, forcing them to cling to the jagged terrain. Dean muttered through clenched teeth, shotgun trembling in his hands. Sam, I swear, if I survive this, I'm retiring. No monsters, no angels, no devils. Just a fishing trip somewhere far away. Sam didn't respond immediately. His focus was absolute, tracing wards and chanting protective spells with precision born of desperation. Dean, it's too early to think about retirement. We survive tonight, or there is no tomorrow. A blast of light flared from the divine figure's wings, sweeping across the quarry with devastating force. The molten creature staggered, thrashing violently, but Lucifer's calm, calculating gaze remained fixed on the hunters. Ah, so bold, so entertaining, he said softly. But mortals, Samuel. You're outmatched, you always were. Dean raised the shotgun, firing repeatedly at the creature's molten hide. Each bullet vanished harmlessly against the glowing, searing surface. Yeah, tell me something I don't know. Sam's eyes narrowed. Dean, keep it moving. The creature is focused on the radiant figure, and Lucifer is distracted. That's our window. Dean blinked. Our window? You mean we jump in the middle of this insanity and hope it works? Sam nodded grimly. Exactly, but timing is everything. One wrong move, we die. The molten creature surged forward again, claws slashing the air, sparks flying as the wards around the hunters flickered under the pressure. Sam's voice rose in a chant, energy radiating outward, reinforcing the circle. The glowing symbols shimmered, bending reality around them in a fragile, protective dome. Lucifer tilted his head, amber eyes glinting with amusement. Clever, briefly clever, but cleverness cannot replace power, and I am power incarnate. Dean ducked under a sweeping claw, rolling to his feet and firing blindly. Yeah, tell me more about how scary you are. Above, the divine figure flared, energy cascading in waves that turned the air molten hot, forcing the hunters to shield themselves. Sam muttered under his breath, reinforcing the wards with desperate energy, sweat streaming down his face. Every strike from the creature shook the circle. Every radiant blast from the celestial being threatened to burn through the fragile protections. Sam looked at Dean, determination blazing. Dean, this is it. We force the clash. We push them together and we create a gap. Then we hit Lucifer. Dean's jaw clenched. Hit Lucifer? Are you insane? Sam's gaze hardened. Insanity is a luxury we don't have. We survive tonight. That's all that matters. Then we strike back. Lucifer's voice entered their minds, calm and insidious. Planning again, Samuel? How ambitious. But ambition without power is merely entertainment. Dean muttered, Fantastic. We're entertainment now, perfect. The molten creature roared, surging forward under Lucifer's subtle command. Sam and Dean moved with practiced precision, baiting it toward the center of the quarry where Sam's reinforced circle waited. Sparks and fire erupted as the creature struck the wards, the dome quivering under the immense pressure. Lucifer's amber eyes followed, calculating every move. Human ingenuity impressive. Briefly, but how long can it last? From above, the divine figure flared again, striking downward with blinding light. The molten creature screamed, caught between Lucifer's subtle control and the radiant assault. Sam gritted his teeth, channeling every ounce of energy to maintain the protective circle. Dean ducked under a massive claw, rolling to his feet. Sam, seriously, how long can we keep this up? Sam's teeth clenched. Dean, hold it together. One more maneuver, and we can tip the balance. Watch closely. Lucifer stepped forward, calm and terrifying. So, clever. I almost admire it. But cleverness is no substitute for power, and I am power incarnate. The divine figure descended lower, wings unfurling like a storm. Lucifer, this is your final warning. Lucifer's smile hardened. Final warning, how tedious. I prefer action. Sam nodded to Dean. Now we push them together. Dean didn't hesitate. He sprinted toward the creature, drawing its attention, firing blindly and narrowly avoiding its molten claws. Sam unleashed a concentrated burst of energy from the circle, creating a glowing corridor between the hunters, Lucifer, and the creature. The creature surged forward, following Dean directly into the path Sam had designed. The moment arrived. Sam shouted the final words of the incantation, the circle flaring to brilliant life. Light and energy erupted outward, colliding with the molten creature and forcing it back toward Lucifer. Sparks, fire, and radiant energy collided in a cataclysmic explosion. Lucifer's eyes narrowed. Clever. Very clever, Samuel, but cleverness alone will not win this game. Dean panted, sliding behind a jagged rock. Sam, did it work? Did we do it? Sam's eyes didn't leave the clash unfolding before them. It worked. For now, but Lucifer isn't just any opponent. The balance has shifted, yes, but it could snap back at any moment. One mistake. The molten creature bellowed, energy flaring violently, struggling against the combined force of the divine strike and Sam's ward. Sparks erupted, lighting the night in hellish brilliance. Lucifer's amber eyes glinted, calculating. Impressive, but temporary, and now, hunters, the true game begins. The divine figure flared again, energy blazing, wings slicing through the night air. Lucifer responded, subtle waves of infernal power radiating outward, distorting reality itself. Sam and Dean clung to the jagged rocks, the world around them bending, warping, collapsing under the overwhelming force. Dean muttered, I hate this, I really hate this. Sam's voice was grim, resolute. We survive, that's all we can do. Observe, adapt, and survive, then we fight back. Lucifer stepped closer, molten creature roaring behind him. His presence was absolute, terrifying, omnipotent. The divine figure readied another strike, wings flaring with divine intensity. The battlefield was poised on the knife's edge, hunters in the center, the forces of heaven and hell colliding, the world trembling with their clash. Sam whispered, "Dean, whatever happens, we survive, somehow." The air tore with energy, fire and light colliding violently. The first bold move of the hunters had shifted the balance. But for how long, and at what cost? The quarry shook, as if the world itself were convulsing in pain. Sam and Dean clung to jagged stones, hearts hammering, lungs burning, every nerve screaming with the intensity of the battle unfolding around them. The molten creature screamed, trapped between Lucifer's insidious will and the divine figure's radiant assault. Sparks, fire, and shards of stone rained down, forcing the hunters to press themselves to the ground. Dean groaned, wiping ash from his face. "I swear, if I survive this, I'm writing a strongly worded complaint to the universe. This is way overkill." Sam didn't respond immediately. He was muttering under his breath, energy from the reinforced circle flickering dangerously. "Dean, focus. We survived the first clash. That's all that matters for now. We adapt, or we die." Lucifer's amber eyes gleamed with amusement as he stepped forward, molten creature towering behind him. Oh, how quaint. Mortals trying to play God, entertaining if fleeting. Dean jabbed the shotgun forward. Mortals trying to survive hell and angels at the same time. That's more accurate. Lucifer tilted his head, smile widening. Flattery. How unnecessary, but I do admire the tenacity. From above, the divine figure hovered, wings unfurled, energy radiating outward in waves that made the very air crackle. Lucifer Morningstar. It boomed, voice echoing through the quarry. Your presence destabilizes the natural order. Withdraw or face immediate judgment. Lucifer laughed softly, the sound dark, smooth, and terrifying. Withdraw. No, I came here to see what happens when mortals struggle against the impossible, and to seize just how far chaos can spread. The molten creature surged suddenly, claws slashing through the quarry like molten scythes. Sam and Dean scrambled to dodge, rolling behind jagged rocks, narrowly avoiding the deadly strikes. Sparks and fire burst against the reinforced wards, the energy threatening to overwhelm the fragile circle. Dean yelled, "Sam, how long can that thing hold?" Sam's jaw clenched. "Not long. We need to bait Lucifer now and push him into a misstep. One opening, that's all we need." Lucifer's amber eyes flicked toward the hunters. Ah, clever. Trying to manipulate me. Amusing, but naive. Mortals, Samuel, always so naive. Dean muttered, "Naive, I'm the guy who crawled through hell for a sandwich
Once. Naive isn't the word I'd use. Sam ignored him. "Dean, remember the plan. Move fast, stay in the circle, force the creature toward the edges, and watch for Lucifer's reaction. Timing is everything." The molten creature lunged again, striking the circle with catastrophic force. Energy flared violently, the stone shattering, and Sam felt the protective wards flicker under the pressure. He shouted incantations, his voice cracking as he channeled every ounce of power into maintaining the fragile dome. Lucifer stepped forward, calm and terrifying, amber eyes flickering with intensity. Clever. But cleverness cannot replace power, and I am power incarnate. Above, the divine figure flared, descending with wings outstretched, radiant energy flaring like the sun itself. "Lucifer, your games end now." Lucifer's expression hardened. "Games? Oh, I prefer destruction." The molten creature roared, surging forward under Lucifer's control. Sam and Dean scrambled to maintain their positions, dodging debris, rolling under molten claws, hearts racing with adrenaline and terror. Dean shouted, "Sam, this is insane! Literally insane! How do we fight this?" Sam's voice was sharp, steady. We survive. That's all we can do. One chance, one window. We use it to strike. Lucifer's voice entered their minds, calm and omnipresent. Striking, entertaining, but ultimately meaningless. Dean muttered under his breath. Yeah, sure, that's comforting. Sam nodded to Dean, signaling the moment. Now, move the creature toward the left edge of the circle. Dean roared, sprinting toward the creature, firing blindly, narrowly dodging its molten claws. The beast followed, exactly as Sam had predicted, toward the reinforced edge of the protective dome. Sam chanted rapidly, his voice rising over the roar of the molten creature and the hum of the divine figure's energy. Light flared violently from the circle, forcing the creature into the gap Sam had prepared. Sparks and fire erupted in a brilliant explosion as the creature collided with the warded edge, struggling against the containment. Lucifer's eyes narrowed, flickering with something darker than amusement. Ah, clever, but temporary. One misstep. He extended a hand, and reality seemed to bend around him. The molten creature's struggle intensified, thrashing violently as if trying to resist 1,000 invisible chains. Sam struggled to maintain the ward, sweat and blood streaking his face as he poured every ounce of energy into keeping the creature trapped. Dean gritted his teeth, ducking under a swipe that would have crushed him. Sam, this is insane, I mean it! Sam's focus was absolute. Dean, trust me, just a little longer, then we make our move. Lucifer's voice was calm, omnipotent. Impressive, Samuel. But fleeting, mortals always fail eventually. And the price will be exquisite. From above, the divine figure flared again, energy cascading down like a waterfall of light. The molten creature shrieked, trapped between Lucifer's control and the divine assault. Sam's circle glowed brighter, light radiating outward in defiance. Dean crouched, eyes wide. Sam, are we actually doing it? Are we winning? Sam's eyes never left the energy surge. Not winning. Surviving, for now. That's all that matters. Observe, adapt, survive, and then fight back. Lucifer's amber gaze flicked between the hunters and the creature. Clever. Very clever. But cleverness will not save you. Then suddenly the air shifted. A subtle wave of infernal energy emanated from Lucifer, bending reality around the circle. Sam felt the wards flicker violently, threatening to collapse. Dean shouted, Sam, it's breaking! Sam's teeth clenched, energy radiating in desperate waves. Hold, just a little longer! Lucifer stepped closer, voice silky, dangerous. Patience! Mortals, I'll savor every moment of your struggle. The molten creature screamed, thrashing violently against the reinforced edge, fire and molten shards scattering across the quarry. Sam poured every ounce of power into the wards, his body trembling with exhaustion. Dean muttered, voice tight, Sam, how much longer can you hold this? Sam's jaw tightened. Not much, that's why. We strike now. The gap is small, but it's there. We hit Lucifer directly. One move, one opening. Lucifer's amber eyes glimmered, calculating. Ah, I see. You plan to defy me. Bold. I almost respect it. Dean's shotgun roared as he leapt toward the gap, firing at Lucifer, while Sam unleashed a concentrated blast of energy through the weakened edge of the circle. The clash of mortal will and supernatural power sent a shockwave across the quarry, hurling both hunters to the ground. Lucifer's expression remained calm, but his eyes burned with intensity. The molten creature roared, regaining control, energy flaring with terrifying force. The divine figure's wings flared, radiant light cutting through the night like a blade. Dean coughed, brushing ash from his face. Sam, we might have actually done something. Sam nodded, chest heaving, sweat and blood streaking his face. For now, maybe. But Lucifer's response, will be worse. Much worse. Lucifer stepped forward, amber eyes gleaming, presence absolute. Clever mortals. But the infernal counterstrike begins. The air thickened, energy surging, the molten creature roaring behind him, the divine figure flaring above. Sam and Dean clung to the jagged rocks, hearts hammering, every instinct screaming with the magnitude of the forces around them. The night erupted in fire, light, and energy. The hunters had forced the first shift in balance, but Lucifer's counterstrike was coming, and it would not be merciful. The quarry trembled violently, as if the earth itself were screaming. Sam and Dean crouched behind jagged stones, adrenaline surging in their veins, lungs burning from the acrid smoke and heat that filled the night. Sparks flew from shattered rocks, fire roared along the edges of the quarry, and the molten creature bellowed, thrashing violently. Its molten claws carved gouges into stone, molten energy sizzling where it met Sam's reinforced wards. Dean's teeth clenched, shotgun clutched like a lifeline. I don't even remember what normal feels like anymore. Angels, devils, molten monsters. What's next? Giant killer bunnies? Sam didn't flinch. His voice was low but sharp, chanting protective words, his hands glowing with desperate energy. Focus, Dean! This is no time for jokes. Every second we hesitate, Lucifer gains the upper hand. Lucifer stepped forward, molten creature looming behind him like a fiery sentinel. Amber eyes glinting, his presence absolute and terrifying. Clever mortals, shifting the balance ever so slightly. Almost enough to amuse me. Dean muttered under his breath. Amuse him? I'm more terrified than amused. That's a full-time job, buddy. The divine figure hovered above, wings extended, radiance slicing through the night. Lucifer Morningstar, its booming voice rang through the quarry. You have no right to meddle in this realm, withdraw, or face divine judgment. Lucifer's lips curved into a cold smile. Judgment? Such a human concept. I'm beyond judgment. I am inevitable. Suddenly the molten creature surged, molten claws swiping through the air. Sam and Dean rolled, narrowly avoiding the attack. Sparks erupted where the claws struck the edges of the protective circle, sending fragments of stone flying. Sam shouted, voice cracking, Dean, move it toward the left edge. Keep the creature focused. Dean roared, sprinting, firing blindly, narrowly dodging molten strikes. The creature followed exactly as Sam predicted, heading toward the reinforced edge of the circle. The wards flared, energy radiating outward, holding the creature at bay, but barely. Lucifer's amber eyes narrowed. So, you forced my minion into a cage. Clever, but the cage is fragile, like you. Above, the divine figure unleashed a radiant wave, slamming into the molten creature with explosive force. It screeched in agony, energy surging violently as if reality itself were bending under the clash of celestial and infernal powers. Dean crouched behind a jagged rock. Sam, if I survive this, I'm never leaving the bunker again, I swear. No hunting, no angels, no devils, just burgers and bad TV. Sam's jaw clenched. We survive tonight, and that's all. Then we plan, then we strike back. Lucifer's voice slithered into their minds, calm and omnipresent. Struggling, Samuel? Amusing, but futile. You may push and pull, but I bend the world itself to my will. Suddenly the molten creature roared, energy flaring violently, and the air itself began to twist. Rocks lifted, shards of stone hovering as if gravity itself had been rewritten. Sam gritted his teeth, chanting desperately to maintain the circle, sweat and blood streaking his face. Dean's voice was sharp. Sam! I don't think anything in our playbook prepared us for this. Sam didn't look at him. Focused entirely on the battle, he forced the creature back within the circle. energy radiating outward like a desperate plea. "Dean, one chance! We hit Lucifer now!" Dean's jaw tightened. "Hit Lucifer? Are you insane?" Sam's gaze hardened. Insane is optional. Survival is mandatory. Lucifer's amber eyes flickered, a spark of admiration, or was it warning passing through them? Bold. I almost respect it. The hunters moved in unison. Dean charged, shotgun blazing, while Sam released a concentrated pulse of energy through the reinforced edge of the circle. Sparks, light, and molten energy collided in a cataclysmic explosion. The shockwave tore through the quarry, hurling debris in all directions. Lucifer's expression remained calm, but the amber glow in his eyes intensified. Clever mortals, but the infernal counterstrike begins. The molten creature shrieked violently, energy radiating outward like a storm. Sam's wards fled, straining under the combined weight of Lucifer's control and the divine figure's assault. Dean landed heavily behind a boulder, coughing, blood streaking his face. "Sam, we might have done something, I think." Sam shook his head, exhaustion and determination mingling. "Temporary, only temporary. One wrong move and we're done. But Lucifer's reaction is coming, and it won't be subtle." Lucifer stepped forward, presence absolute, eyes glowing like molten fire. The air thickened around him, reality bending in subtle but terrifying ways. Rocks floated, molten energy pulsed unpredictably, and the divine figure braced against the shifting forces. Dean whispered, voice tense. "Sam, I don't think anything can survive that thing." Sam's hands glowed with desperate energy, his voice low, firm. "We survive, we observe, we adapt. Then we strike back. That's all we can do." Lucifer's amber eyes gleamed with cold amusement. "Ah, mortals, so persistent, so fragile, and yet so entertaining. Now, witness the infernal counter-strike." The air exploded in a wave of power, energy radiating outward from Lucifer. The molten creature screamed violently, hurling itself against the wards, sparks and molten shards scattering in every direction. The divine figure fled in response, light cutting through the chaos like a blade. Dean grabbed Sam's arm. "Sam, whatever happens, we survive, somehow." Sam nodded, chest heaving, hands glowing. "We survive! That's all that matters for now." The night erupted in fire, light and energy. The hunters had shifted the balance once, but Lucifer's counterstrike descended like a storm, chaos consuming the quarry, threatening to annihilate everything in its path. The quarry had become unrecognizable. Jagged stones were splintered, scorched earth heaved, and molten rivulets ran across the shattered terrain like rivers of fire. Smoke choked the air, stinging eyes and lungs, while the roar of the molten creature echoed like thunder. Sam and Dean clung to debris, their breaths ragged, hearts hammering as if trying to escape their chests. Dean groaned, brushing ash from his face. "I don't even know what surviving looks like anymore. I'm pretty sure this is not it." Sam's gaze swept across the ruined battlefield, wards flickering like fragile glass under the weight of raw power. "Dean, keep moving. We can't stop now. The circle holds. For now. But we can't rely on it forever." Lucifer hovered nearby, molten creature towering behind him, every step radiating unholy force. Amber eyes gleamed with lethal precision, calm and terrifying. "Clever, Samuel. Very clever. You've shifted the balance temporarily, but chaos is mine to command." Dean muttered under his breath, "Temporary. Yeah, that's comforting." The divine figure hovered above, wings outstretched, radiance cutting through the night like blades. Energy cascaded down, striking the molten creature and Lucifer simultaneously. Sparks and fire erupted, throwing shards of stone in every direction. Lucifer tilted his head. amber gaze calculating. Ah, the celestial protector, interfering, as always. How predictable. Dean coughed, wiping blood from his cheek. Predictable? Yeah, like the devil himself was going to be predictable. Sam's hands glowed, wards flaring fiercely. Dean, focus. We survive this night, then we fight back. That's all we can do. Watch for openings and adapt. Lucifer's voice, smooth and omnipresent, entered their minds. Mortals, so persistent, so fragile, yet somehow amusing. Now witness the true extent of the infernal counter-strike. The molten creature roared violently, thrashing against the wards. Rocks levitated, molten fire surged unpredictably, and reality itself seemed to bend around Lucifer. Sam felt the circle tremble, wards flickering as if struggling against invisible hands pulling them apart. Dean shouted, "Sam, the circle! It's breaking!" Sam's teeth clenched, energy radiating outward, sweat and blood streaking his face. "Hold it! Just a little longer!" From above, the divine figure unleashed another wave of radiant energy, striking the molten creature. Sparks and molten shards collided with the wards, shaking the fragile dome. The hunters clung desperately, muscles trembling, adrenaline pumping as the air vibrated with raw, apocalyptic power. Dean muttered, voice tight, "Sam, seriously, how much longer can we hold this?" Sam's jaw tightened. "Not long, that's why. We act. Now. One opening, one chance to strike Lucifer directly. It's risky. But it's all we have." Lucifer's amber eyes flickered with interest. "Ah, I see. Defiance, bold, but foolish." Dean muttered under his breath, "Foolish is my middle name at this point." The hunters moved in perfect synchrony.
Dean charged, shotgun blazing, drawing the molten creature's attention, while Sam unleashed a concentrated pulse of energy at the weakened edge of the circle. Sparks, fire, and molten shards collided in a cataclysmic explosion, the shockwave hurling debris and energy across the battlefield. Lucifer's expression remained calm, but his eyes glowed like molten fire, amber intensity radiating lethal intent. Impressive mortals, but the infernal counter-strike is just beginning. The molten creature screamed violently, energy surging outward like a storm. Sam poured every ounce of power into maintaining the circle, shaking with exhaustion and determination. Dean rolled behind jagged stone, blood streaked across his face. Dean panted, voice strained. "Sam, I think we might have actually done something." Sam shook his head. "Temporary, only temporary. Lucifer's response will be catastrophic, and the next wave will not spare us." Lucifer stepped forward, molten creature towering behind him, presence absolute, terrifying, omnipotent. The air thickened, warping reality subtly but dangerously. Rocks lifted, molten energy pulsed violently, and the divine figure braced against the shifting forces. Dean whispered, voice tight, "Sam, I don't think anything can survive that thing." Sam's hands glowed brightly, energy crackling in desperate waves. "We survive, that's all that matters. Observe, adapt, then strike. That's our only chance." Lucifer's amber eyes gleamed, calculating, deadly. Mortals so persistent, so fragile, yet entertaining now. The next act begins. The molten creature surged violently again, energy radiating outward, shaking the fragile circle. Sparks and molten shards flew across the shattered quarry as the divine figure flared, radiant light cutting through the night. Dean grabbed Sam's arm, voice tense. "Sam, whatever happens, we survive, somehow." Sam nodded, chest heaving, eyes blazing. "We survive. That's all we can do for now. Then we fight back." The air exploded in fire, light, and energy. The hunters had forced the first shifts in balance, but Lucifer's infernal counter-strike descended like a hurricane, chaos consuming the quarry, threatening to annihilate everything in its path. Sam and Dean clung to jagged stones, hearts hammering, every instinct screaming with the magnitude of forces around them. The night erupted in a maelstrom of molten fire, radiant energy, and divine wrath. Lucifer's amber eyes glinted with terrifying amusement. Hunters, your struggle is exquisite, but every battle has a cost, and every battlefield will be shattered. Dean whispered, voice trembling. Sam, how do we survive this? Sam's voice was resolute, almost defiant, though his body shook with exertion. We adapt, we endure, and when the time comes, we fight back. That's all we have. The molten creature roared behind them, fire and energy colliding violently with the divine figure above. The protective circle flickered, threatened to collapse, and the quarry itself groaned under the weight of the infernal and celestial forces. As the divine figure fled, radiant light cutting through the night, Dean grabbed Sam's arm, voice tense. Sam, whatever happens, we survive, somehow. Sam nodded, chest heaving, eyes blazing. We survive. That's all we can do for now. Then we fight back. The air exploded in fire, light, and energy. The hunters had forced the first shifts in balance, but Lucifer's infernal counterstrike descended like a hurricane, chaos consuming the quarry, threatening to annihilate everything in its path. Sam and Dean clung to jagged stones, hearts hammering, every instinct screaming with the magnitude of forces around them. The night erupted in a maelstrom of molten fire, radiant energy, and divine wrath. Lucifer's amber eyes glinted with terrifying amusement. Hunters, your struggle is exquisite, but every battle has a cost, and every battlefield will be shattered. Dean whispered, voice trembling. Sam, how do we survive this? Sam's voice was resolute, almost defiant, though his body shook with exertion. We adapt, we endure, and when the time comes, we fight back. That's all we have. The molten creature roared behind them, fire and energy colliding violently with the divine figure above. The protective circle flickered, threatened to collapse, and the quarry itself groaned under the weight of the infernal and celestial forces. Lucifer stepped closer, presence overwhelming, every movement radiating power. Clever mortals, but chaos is mine. And then, with a single motion, the ground split violently, stone and molten energy erupting from the earth, throwing both hunters to the edge of consciousness. Dust, fire, and energy clouded the night, leaving the quarry a shattered, unrecognizable battlefield. Dean coughed, struggling to his knees. Sam, I think we might be in trouble. Sam's gaze scanned the chaos, chest heaving. We survived barely, but this is just the beginning.
If we live, the war has only just begun. Lucifer's amber eyes glimmered in the smoke and fire, molten creature snarling beside him, the divine figure hovering above, wings slicing the chaotic air. The hunters had survived the infernal counterstrike, but the battlefield was shattered, the stakes higher than ever, and the coming days promised to test every limit of courage, skill, and humanity.
The quarry lay in ruins. Jagged stone, molten fire, and shattered wards littered the landscape like the remnants of a world undone. Sam and Dean staggered to their feet, chest heaving, ash clinging to sweat-streaked faces. The night air was thick with smoke, stinging their lungs, and the echoes of the molten creature's roar still rattled in their ears. Dean spat blood onto the scorched ground, voice rough. Sam, I'm starting to think surviving Lucifer is less terrifying than cleaning up after him. Sam ignored the grim humor. scanning the battlefield with sharp, calculating eyes. The protective circle was cracked, energy flickering weakly, but it had held long enough to keep the hunters alive. We survived the counter-strike. Barely. But Dean, this isn't just a battle of strength anymore. There's something else. Something he isn't showing us. Dean frowned, gripping the shotgun tighter. You mean another trick up his sleeve? Because if so, I'm not sure my soul can handle one more sleeve. Sam's amber gaze didn't waver. Exactly. Lucifer thrives on manipulation. Every move we've made, every response, he's using to shape his agenda. And now I think we're about to see it. Above, the divine figure hovered, wings glinting with residual radiance, eyes flickering with concern and calculation. Hunters, it said, voice echoing across the cratered quarry. Lucifer's strategy is not brute force alone. He's manipulating the battlefield, the creatures, even your own instincts. He seeks something more than mere victory. Dean muttered under his breath. Oh, fantastic. Mind games. I was hoping for more shooting and less existential crisis. Sam's hands trembled slightly, energy flickering as he reinforced the remaining wards. We need to find the source. There's a hidden agenda, something behind the chaos. If we don't uncover it, we're not just losing a battle. We're losing everything. Lucifer's amber eyes glinted from the shadows beyond the shattered quarry, molten creature beside him snarling. His smile was cold, controlled, and terrifyingly calm. So, the clever mortals suspect there's more at play. Intriguing, but you misunderstand. I reveal only what is necessary, and conceal what is vital. Dean growled, shoving himself behind a jagged rock. Vital, huh? That's comforting. If you enjoy impending doom with a side of chaos. A sudden tremor ran through the quarry. Rocks lifted, molten energy surged, and the night seemed to bend around Lucifer's will. Sam's hands glowed, energy pulsing in desperate waves to maintain what little control they still had. Dean, whatever happens, we have to keep our focus. He's trying to disorient us. We can't let him. Lucifer's voice rang through the smoke and fire, silky and omnipresent. Ah, mortals always struggling, always scrambling, but patience is a virtue you cannot afford. And yet, I delight in the struggle. Dean jabbed the shotgun forward, eyes darting around the battlefield. Delight? I don't feel delight. I feel like I'm about 3 seconds away from a very permanent bruise. Sam ignored him, scanning every crack in the molten stone, every flicker of energy, searching for the hidden mechanism that fueled Lucifer's chaos. It's here, something subtle. He's not just unleashing power, he's sowing uncertainty, forcing us to act against ourselves. Above, the divine figure flared, radiant wings slicing through the night, trying to stabilize the battlefield. Hunters! His power is not only in brute force, he's using perception, fear, doubt. Every instinct you rely on, he manipulates. Dean's voice was tight. Yeah, well, I've got plenty of fear and doubt. I'm basically a walking distraction. Sam shot him a glare. Dean, focus. This is serious. We can't just survive physically. We have to survive mentally, emotionally, strategically. Suddenly, a wave of infernal energy surged outward from Lucifer, sweeping across the shattered battlefield. The molten creature roared, thrashing violently, and the protective wards flickered under the strain. Dean was thrown against a jagged stone, coughing, blood streaked across his cheek. Sam braced, hands glowing, muttering rapid incantations. Hold! We can't let him break through now. Lucifer stepped forward, molten creature looming behind him. His amber eyes gleamed with calculated intensity. So persistent, so fragile, and yet the most interesting part remains hidden. Dean muttered under his breath. Hidden. Great. That's exactly what I needed right now. Hidden. Sam's gaze sharpened. He felt it now, a subtle manipulation beneath the chaos, a thread of infernal design connecting every violent surge, every fluctuation of the creature's energy. Dean, he's not just attacking, he's searching. Something in this world he wants, something we're standing between. Lucifer's smile widened, chilling and slow. Yes, exactly. You are pawns, Samuel. Not because of your weakness, but because you stand between me and my desire.
Dean squinted through the smoke. Desire? I don't want to know what that is. I'm pretty sure it's bad news. Sam's voice was steady, controlled. We need to find it before he does. Whatever it is, if Lucifer obtains it, this world is finished. Lucifer's amber eyes flickered with amusement. Ah, clever. I almost admire the tenacity. But your cleverness will not save you, not from the hidden agenda, not from me. Suddenly, the molten creature shrieked violently, energy surging upward. The very ground split beneath it, and from the cracks rose faint, dark symbols etched into stone, sigils pulsing with infernal power. Sam's eyes widened. Dean, these sigils, they're stabilizing something beneath the surface. He's drawing energy from the earth itself. Whatever he's after is buried here. We need to act fast. Dean's shotgun fired blindly, chunks of molten rock exploding outward. So, buried treasure, huh? And by treasure you mean impending apocalypse? Sam's hands glowed, energy weaving into the fractured wards. Exactly, we protect it, or we lose everything. Lucifer's voice was calm, omnipresent, like smoke curling through the air. Yeah, protect it if you can, but understand this. Every step you take, every move you make, I have accounted for. And soon, the hidden agenda will be mine. Dean muttered, voice tense. Sam, I don't think surviving the counterstrike was the worst part. This is the part that'll kill me first. Sam's jaw tightened, eyes blazing. No, we survive this, and then we fight. The hidden agenda, though, it's our only leverage. We need to find it before Lucifer does. That's our next move. Lucifer's amber eyes glinted, molten power radiating from his every movement. The molten creature roared, the divine figure above flaring, and the battlefield became a storm of molten fire, radiant energy, and chaos. Dean gritted his teeth. Sam, survival, mental fortitude, hidden agendas. Can we just get a sandwich and call it a day? Sam shook his head, chest heaving. No time for sandwiches. The hidden agenda, it's the key. If we fail, nothing else matters. We find it or we die trying. Lucifer's smile widened. Mortals always struggling, always striving, so deliciously futile, but enjoy it, for the end draws near. And then with a subtle motion, the molten creature surged, pulling energy from the sigils below. The ground quaked violently, throwing both hunters to their knees. Dust, molten shards, and radiant energy clouded the battlefield, leaving the world a fractured, uncertain place. Sam gasped, hand pressed to the glowing sigils beneath his feet. Dean, whatever happens, we survive. Somehow. Then we uncover the agenda. Dean whispered, voice trembling. Sam, somehow. I think we're in way over our heads. Lucifer's amber eyes glinted through the smoke, molten creature snarling beside him, divine figure hovering above, wings slicing through the chaotic night. The hidden agenda and the coming revelation would change everything. The air hung heavy with ash and molten heat. Sam and Dean stumbled over the fractured stones of the ruined quarry, lungs burning, hearts pounding, senses screaming with every sound of cracking earth and distant, unnatural roars. Every instinct screamed at them. Retreat, hide, survive. But neither hunter moved away from the epicenter. They had a purpose now, something bigger than survival. Dean spat blood onto scorched rock, voice tight. Sam, if we survive this and Lucifer still doesn't spill his secrets, I'm flipping a table somewhere, preferably his. Sam's amber eyes flicked over the fractured sigils, pulsing faintly beneath the molten creature. Dean, focus. These sigils, they're key. Lucifer's drawing something from the earth itself. I can feel it. Power, yes, but it's more than that. Something buried, ancient, dangerous. And we're the only ones standing in the way. Dean's hands tightened on his shotgun. Yeah, standing between Lucifer and the apocalypse. Another Tuesday for the Winchesters, huh? Sam ignored the humor. His focus was absolute, hands glowing as he extended his energy into the fractured circle. We need to expose it before he stabilizes it fully. If Lucifer taps into this, he won't just devastate the battlefield. He'll have leverage beyond comprehension. We can't let that happen. Lucifer's amber eyes glimmered from the shadows beyond the chaos. The molten creature bellowed, energy radiating outward like a storm, responding to its master's subtle commands. Ah, mortals, so determined, so fragile, yet you sense the truth. You feel the hidden thread I've woven beneath the battlefield. Admirable, but futile. Dean muttered under his breath. Futile, sure, that's my middle name right now. Above, the divine figure hovered, wings slicing the smoky night. Hunters. These sigils are more than protective symbols. They anchor a conduit, an ancient channel of celestial and infernal energy. Lucifer seeks to claim it, to manipulate the very balance of this world. If he succeeds, all is lost. Sam's hands flared with desperate energy, weaving a path across the cracked earth toward the glowing sigils. We have to sever his control. But Dean, it's risky. One misstep and the conduit will explode, taking us and the quarry with it. Dean raised an eyebrow, voice tight. Oh, perfect. So either we fail and die, or we succeed and maybe die. Sounds like a win-win. Sam shot him a sharp glare. Focus! This isn't a joke. Every moment Lucifer stabilizes the conduit, his power grows exponentially. We need to act fast. Lucifer's voice sliced through the chaos, silky and omnipresent. Ah, mortals, your resolve is almost touching. But understand this, the conduit is more than energy. It is knowledge, secrets buried long before your kind walked this earth. And I intend to claim it. Dean's stomach sank. Secrets? Oh, that's always worse. Just when I thought I was surviving hell, here comes ancient evil knowledge. Sam's hands traced the glowing symbols etched into the fractured stones. Energy pulsed through them in waves, revealing faint patterns only visible to someone attuned to both celestial and infernal frequencies. His pulse quickened as the truth began to emerge. Dean, these symbols, they're not just anchoring energy. They're protecting something that predates heaven and hell. Dean's jaw dropped. You mean like really old, older than the Bible old? Sam's eyes didn't leave the sigils. Older. Much older. And Lucifer wants it, whatever it is. It's the reason he came here. Not just chaos, not just battle. But this hidden agenda is the key. Lucifer's amber gaze glinted, molten energy radiating in ripples across the battlefield. Yes, the secret buried beneath your feet, the foundation of your world's fragile balance, and you stand in the way. Delicious. Dean swallowed hard, gripping his shotgun like a lifeline. Sam, we can't just grab it and run, can we? I feel like he won't let that happen without a very molten tantrum. Sam's gaze hardened. Exactly, we have to extract it carefully. One wrong move, and he could annihilate us. Or worse, take the secret for himself. This isn't just about survival. This is about controlling the balance of existence itself. A sudden roar erupted from the molten creature. Sparks and molten shards flew as it lunged toward the fractured sigils. Sam's wards fled violently, energy pulsing outward in desperate defense. Dean rolled behind a jagged stone, muttering, "Sam, every time I think I've seen the worst, Lucifer just cranks it up a notch." Sam's hands flared, voice steady despite the chaos. "We neutralize the creature first, then we sever the conduit. Timing is everything. Stay sharp." Lucifer stepped closer, molten creature towering behind him, presence absolute. Clever, very clever. But do you truly grasp what lies beneath? This secret is older than angels, older than demons. It is the origin of everything, and soon it will be mine. Dean whispered, voice trembling. "Sam, origin of everything? Yeah, I think I need a drink, or maybe a priest. Actually, make that both." Sam ignored the humor, focusing on the faint pulses beneath the fractured stones. Energy pulsed rhythmically, almost alive, as if the conduit itself were aware of their presence. "Dean, look, the conduit responds to intent. Whoever controls it controls the fundamental flow of power between realms. Lucifer. He's trying to imprint his will." Lucifer's amber eyes glinted with amusement. "Yes, mortals, you understand at last, but comprehension does not equate to power. You will fail. You always fail." Dean's grip tightened on the shotgun. "Yeah, well, failing is kind of my thing, but not today." Sam's hands traced the final sigils, energy weaving a protective web across the fractured stones. The molten creature's thrashings grew more violent, responding to Lucifer's subtle influence. Sparks flew, molten energy threatened to breach the wards, and the air itself shimmered under the tension. Sam inhaled sharply, voice firm. "Dean, this is it. We disrupt his control, or everything we've fought for ends tonight." Lucifer's smile widened, deadly and calm. "Clever mortals, so determined, yet so fragile. Very well. Witness what happens when the conduit resists, and the true secrets are revealed." The ground beneath them shook violently. Molten energies surged upward, colliding with the protective wards. The sigils glowed brighter, pulsing in strange patterns, as if signaling something ancient, sentient, and aware. Dean yelled over the roar, "Sam, what's happening? It's alive or something?" Sam's jaw tightened, hands glowing with desperate energy. "Yeah, the conduit reacts. It's not just energy, it's consciousness. Whatever's buried here, it chooses. And right now, it's responding to Lucifer's presence." The molten creature screamed, lashing out as Lucifer extended a hand, molten power radiating in waves that distorted reality. Sam's energy flared brighter, wards straining under the combined forces. Dean shouted, "Sam, do we just yank it out or talk nicely to ancient evil consciousness?" Sam's amber eyes blazed. "No, we disrupt, not extract. Focus your energy on destabilizing the sigils. If we destabilize the conduit, Lucifer's control collapses. But timing is everything." Lucifer's smile hardened. Clever mortals, you think you can resist me, but you do not yet grasp the full extent of the hidden agenda or the consequences of failure." The air vibrated with molten fire and radiant energy. Rocks levitated, shards of molten stone flew in every direction, and the molten creature lunged again. Sam and Dean moved as one, wards flaring, energy pulsing, hearts hammering, with every beat of impending catastrophe. Sam shouted, "Dean, now! Disrupt it, full force!" Dean roared, shotgun blazing, energy pulsing from Sam's hands, and the battlefield erupted in an explosion of light, fire, and molten shards. The conduit writhed violently, sigils pulsing, ancient energy screaming into the night. Lucifer's amber eyes narrowed, molten power radiating in ripples across the shattered quarry. No, impossible. The conduit resists. You. Dean coughed, sliding behind jagged stone, voice ragged. Sam, did we do it? Sam's hands trembled, energy crackling violently. We disrupted it, but only partially. The conduit is resisting Lucifer, but it's alive, aware, and it's choosing to fight back. Lucifer's gaze blazed with fury. Mortals, insolent, you dare interfere with destiny itself. Dean muttered under his breath. I think we just ticked off literal Lucifer. That's a new low. Sam's eyes scanned the battlefield, pulse racing. We survived the first step, but the hidden agenda, it's far from revealed. And now, Lucifer knows we can resist. He'll escalate. Lucifer's amber gaze flickered with dark calculation. Enjoy your fleeting triumph, mortals. The true battle begins now. The air in the shattered quarry vibrated with raw, unpredictable power. Molten rock hissed and cracked, smoke and fire twisted in unnatural currents, and the protective wards flickered, struggling to hold against the relentless energy. Sam's hands glowed with desperate light, pulse racing as he channeled every ounce of strength into maintaining the conduit's instability. Dean groaned, wiping sweat and blood from his brow. Sam, I think I've officially hit my limit. And that's saying a lot considering the last 2 weeks included hell, angels, and literal hellfire. Sam didn't respond immediately. His amber eyes were fixed on the pulsing sigils beneath the fractured stones. Dean! Focus. Every surge, every ripple, it's him testing us. Lucifer isn't just angry, he's strategizing. And every second we hesitate, he adapts. Lucifer stepped forward, molten creature looming behind him like a living furnace. Amber eyes gleamed with lethal intelligence, and his presence seemed to warp the very air around them. So persistent, so fragile, yet entertaining. You have disrupted the conduit, mortals. But do you believe such a temporary success will save you? Dean muttered. Temporary success. Yeah, that sounds about right. I should write that on a motivational poster somewhere. The divine figure hovered above, wings fully extended, radiance slicing through the smoky night. Hunters, this is no longer merely a battle of strength. Lucifer's fury is now compounded by desperation. Every instinct you rely on, he will twist into a weapon against you. Sam's hands flared brighter, wards flaring in response. He's escalating. We can feel it, the molten creature, the sigils, even the air itself. He's preparing for a strike that will not just break the battlefield, but us. Lucifer's amber eyes flickered with amusement. Ah, the clever mortals realize at last. Yes, I escalate. I always escalate. The conduit resists, but soon it will bend to my will, and when it does, your struggles will be meaningless. Dean gritted his teeth, crouching behind a shattered boulder. Meaningless? Oh yeah, that's comforting. Thanks, Lucifer. Really helps the morale. Sam's focus was absolute. He traced energy lines through the fractured sigils, trying to anticipate every surge of infernal and celestial force. Dean, we need to act fast. If he breaks the conduit, it's over. He'll gain control of ancient power, knowledge, leverage we can't even imagine. We survive physically. But if we fail here, nothing else matters. Lucifer extended a hand, molten energy radiating outward. Reality warped, the ground cracked, rocks levitated, molten fire surged unpredictably. The molten creature screamed, responding to its master's will. So persistent, so resistant, yet so naive. You do not understand the magnitude of the hidden agenda. I will show you, Dean whispered, voice tight. Sam, he's about to show us something, and I'm pretty sure I don't want to see it. Sam's gaze sharpened. We have no choice. Brace yourself, Dean. This is going to get worse before it gets better. A sudden tremor shook the battlefield. The molten creature lunged, molten claws slashing through the air, while Lucifer's presence radiated in waves, bending reality itself. The wards flared violently under Sam's desperate energy. Dean rolled behind jagged stone, coughing, blood streaked across his face. Sam, seriously, does he ever run out of power? Sam's voice was steady, controlled. Not if we let him. We survive, we adapt, and then we strike. That's the only way. Lucifer's amber eyes burned with lethal intensity. Yes, mortals adapt, survive, but ultimately resist nothing. The conduit, the hidden agenda, it is mine, and soon your resilience will crumble under the weight of inevitability. The molten creature surged violently, energy colliding with the protective wards, scattering molten shards across the shattered quarry. Sparks danced in the smoky air, and the ground itself seemed to quake in agony. Dean shouted over the roar, "Sam! The circle! It's flickering!" Sam's hands flared brighter, voice rising in a chant of desperate energy. "Hold it! The conduit responds, but it's alive, it's resisting him. Focus your energy! Now!" Lucifer's smile widened, dangerous and controlled. "Ah, the conduit chooses, and it is choosing resistance. How delightful. But resistance is temporary, and I am eternal." Dean muttered, voice strained. "Eternal? Right. Great. Just what I needed. An eternal headache." Sam's amber eyes blazed as he traced energy along the sigils, reinforcing the wards, feeling the conduit's sentience push against Lucifer's influence. Sparks and molten shards flew as the molten creature thrashed violently, reality warping around its every movement. Suddenly, a wave of infernal power exploded outward from Lucifer, colliding with the wards. Sam stumbled, chest heaving, but held his focus. "Dean! Now! Focus all your firepower on the edges of the conduit. We can destabilize his control." Dean roared, shotgun blasting, molten shards exploding as the energy pulsed outward. The conduit writhed violently beneath the fractured stones, sigils pulsing like a heartbeat responding to both hunters' combined efforts. Lucifer's amber eyes narrowed. "No, impossible. The conduit resists me. Mortals, you dare." Dean coughed, sliding behind jagged rock, voice ragged. "Sam, I think we actually did it. I think we pissed him off in a productive way." Sam's hands trembled, wards flaring, energy crackling. "We've disrupted him partially, but he knows we can resist. Now he'll escalate further, and we need to survive that next wave." Lucifer's gaze flared with fury, molten energy radiating like an unstoppable storm. "Mortals, insolent, defiant. You will learn the price of resisting destiny itself." Dean whispered, voice trembling. "Sam, somehow, I think this next part's gonna hurt." Sam's jaw tightened, amber eyes blazing. "We survive, we endure, and we uncover every part of this hidden agenda before he gains full control. That's our only chance." Lucifer's amber eyes glinted through the smoke and fire. Molten creature snarled beside him, wings of the divine figure slicing through the chaotic air. "Enjoy your fleeting triumph, for the true escalation is about to begin." The air thickened, molten energy surged, and the battlefield trembled violently. Sparks, fire, and radiant energy collided in a violent storm. The conduit pulsed, responding to both the hunter's desperate energy and Lucifer's escalating force. Dean whispered, teeth clenched, "Sam, I'm pretty sure the next round's going to be our most lethal yet." Sam's hands glowed, energy crackling, pulse racing. "And we survive, or nothing matters. Brace yourself, Dean. Lucifer's escalation one is about to tear everything apart." The molten creature lunged again, molten claws carving the fractured battlefield, and the night erupted in fire, energy, and chaos. Sam and Dean clung to jagged stones, hearts hammering, senses screaming, as the next phase of the infernal confrontation approached. The quarry had become a storm of fire and molten stone, an infernal tempest where every heartbeat threatened to tear reality apart. Sam and Dean clung to jagged debris, energy crackling in Sam's hands, lungs burning from smoke and heat. The conduit beneath the fractured earth pulsed violently, alive and aware, its energy lashing outward like the scream of a trapped god. Dean gritted his teeth, voice hoarse. "Sam, I think we broke everything. I mean, literally. I can't even tell if this is Earth anymore, or just molten lava and bad decisions." Sam didn't answer. His amber eyes were locked on the glowing sigils beneath the shattered stones. Sweat, blood, and ash streaked his face as he traced the energy threads, trying to stabilize the conduit without alerting Lucifer fully. "Dean, focus. This is it. Whatever the conduit is hiding, we're about to find out, and if we fail, nothing survives." Lucifer hovered nearby, molten creature behind him, eyes glowing with calculated intensity. Amber light reflected off molten cracks in the quarry as his presence warped reality. "So, mortals, you survived this far, yet comprehension is still out of reach. The conduit, the hidden agenda, the source of power older than angels and older than demons. Soon it will be mine." Dean muttered under his breath. "Older than angels? Great. I was hoping for a light night of infernal conflict, not eternal secrets." Above, the divine figure flared, wings slicing through the smoky sky. "Hunters, what lies beneath the conduit is not merely power, it is knowledge, sentience, something older than heaven, older than hell, and Lucifer seeks to impose his will upon it. If he succeeds, the balance of all worlds is in jeopardy." Sam's amber eyes narrowed. He's escalating, testing limits, but the conduit is resisting. It's alive, aware, and it's choosing to fight back. Whatever is hidden, it recognizes us. That's our only advantage. The molten creature screamed violently, energy rippling through the battlefield, shards of molten rock tearing through the shattered quarry. Sam's hands flared, energy weaving through the sigils, trying desperately to maintain the fragile stability. Dean coughed, rolling behind a jagged stone. "Sam, every time I think we're at the edge, he just throws another cliff at us. Literally, molten cliffs now. My nerves don't need this." Lucifer's amber gaze flickered with amusement. "Ah, mortals, so persistent, so frail, yet you sense the truth. You feel the secret buried beneath your feet. Admirable, but ultimately irrelevant." Sam's pulse raced as he traced the glowing symbols, hands trembling under the strain of channeling energy. "Dean, the conduit is reacting to him, but it's also reacting to us. It's aware, intelligent, and I think it's about to reveal its secret." Dean's eyes widened. "Reveal its secret? Sam, I'm not sure my brain is prepared for ancient god-level plot twists right now." Suddenly, the ground split violently beneath the conduit. A column of radiant molten energy shot upward, illuminating the entire quarry. The molten creature shrieked, flailing violently as the conduit pulsed with an otherworldly light. Sam's voice rose over the chaos, chanting, stabilizing the sigils. "Dean, focus. The conduit is opening, revealing its essence." The air shimmered, reality bending as the secret beneath the earth emerged. Shapes, patterns, symbols older than time itself glowed, coalescing into a sentient form. A voice echoed, not through sound, but through the mind. Ancient, resonant, terrifying.
Children of mortality, you dare interfere with forces beyond comprehension. Yet I see your intent, your struggle, defiance, purpose. I choose to act. Dean froze, jaw slack. Sam, did that thing just talk to us, like telepathically ancient god talk? Sam's hands trembled, eyes locked on the radiant form. Yes, and it knows, whatever this is, it recognizes us. And that's why it resisted Lucifer. That's why it responded to our efforts. This is the hidden agenda, not just power, but sentience, consciousness older than creation itself. Lucifer's amber eyes flared with fury, molten energy rippling outward. Impossible. The conduit, it defies me. How dare it? Dean
muttered, voice tight. Yeah, apparently it's not impressed with your resume either. The conduit pulsed violently, energy colliding with Lucifer's power. The molten creature screamed, thrashing in response. Reality bent around the forces as the sentient energy reached outward, brushing the edges of the protective wards Sam had woven. Sam's voice was steady, commanding. Dean, it's letting us interact with it. We have a choice. We either convince it to aid us, or it remains neutral. Lucifer can't control it, but we might be able to. Dean's hands tightened on his shotgun. Convince it? Sam, I barely convinced you to survive lunch yesterday. How am I supposed to sell, help us stop the devil to an ancient god thing? Sam didn't flinch. Focus. We have to try. This is our only leverage against him. If the conduit sides with us, Lucifer loses not just the battlefield, but his chance to control the hidden agenda. Lucifer's gaze burned with molten fury. No, I cannot be denied. The conduit belongs to me. Every secret, every power will be mine. Mortals, you will regret defiance. The molten creature lunged violently, striking the wards. Sam flared with energy, repelling the attack, while Dean fired the shotgun into molten shards, carving paths of destruction. Sparks, molten fragments, and radiant energy collided in chaotic arcs. Dean whispered, Sam, this is insane. I think the whole quarry is about to collapse. Sam's amber eyes blazed. It might, but this is our chance. The conduit is reacting to our intent, not Lucifer's. We need to project clarity, purpose, determination. Show it we fight for balance, not for destruction. Lucifer's amber eyes narrowed, molten energy radiating in waves. No, I will dominate, I will impose, I will claim the hidden agenda. Mortals, your defiance ends now. Sam's hands flared, wards pulsing violently. Energy streamed into the conduit, his intent radiating outward, projecting every ounce of determination, hope, and defiance. Dean stood beside him, shotgun in hand, eyes blazing with resolve. The conduit pulsed violently, energy surging, colliding with Lucifer's molten assault. For a moment, the battlefield seemed suspended in tension, a single heartbeat between survival and annihilation. Dean muttered, voice tight, Sam, I think it's listening, or thinking, or whatever ancient god things do when humans scream at them. Sam's hands glowed brighter, energy pulsing through the sigils. It's aware. It's choosing. But Lucifer won't let us reach the conclusion without a fight. Brace yourself. Lucifer stepped forward, molten fire radiating, molten creature towering behind him. Amber eyes flared with lethal fury. Mortals! Insolent, defiant, you will kneel before inevitability. A wave of molten energy erupted, shaking the battlefield violently. The conduit pulsed, reacting to the hunter's combined intent, illuminating the sentient form fully. Symbols of ancient knowledge and power swirled, radiating light that rivaled the infernal and celestial energies clashing around them. Dean coughed, gripping Sam's arm. Sam, I think the next moment is going to change everything. Sam nodded, energy flaring. It will. But we survive, or the world ends. That's our choice. This is the breaking point. The conduit pulsed violently. Lucifer screamed in frustration, molten energy surging outward. The molten creature flailed, and the battlefield shuddered under forces beyond comprehension. And then the sentient form spoke, voice resonant, powerful, commanding. I choose to reveal the truth. Mortals, behold the hidden agenda.
The night had turned into a storm of fire, molten stone and impossible light. The once solid quarry was now a fractured chasm, jagged rocks jutting like teeth, molten fissures spewing heat and smoke, and the air thick with the acrid tang of burning energy. The conduit hovered above the fractured earth, fully revealed, a sentient, radiant form older than creation itself. Symbols of ancient power rotated around it, pulsing with awareness, resonating with a knowledge that defied comprehension. Sam and Dean stood side by side, chest heaving, sweat, ash, and blood streaking their faces. The sheer magnitude of what lay before them threatened to crush both body and mind. And yet, they had no choice. Dean muttered under his breath, voice tight. Sam, I think we just upgraded from survivor hellmouth to fight a literal god's brain. Can someone remind me why we're doing this again? Sam's amber eyes were unwavering, locked on the radiant conduit. Because if we don't, Lucifer wins. And if he gains full control of this hidden agenda, it isn't just the world at risk, it's everything, every realm, every existence. Lucifer hovered nearby, molten creature towering behind him. Amber eyes burned with frustration and molten fury. You insolent mortals, do you think mere defiance can alter fate? The conduit, the agenda, it is mine. Every secret, every essence will bend to me. And you will kneel. Dean clenched his fists, shotgun at the ready. Kneel. Sorry, Lucifer, I left my kneeling for evil license at home. Sam's hands glowed with a radiant energy, weaving through the fractured sigils to stabilize the conduit further. Dean, it's reacting to our intent. We project our purpose, clarity, balance, resistance. We must convince it to aid us, not just survive. The conduit pulsed, symbols rotating faster, resonating with energy from both hunters and Lucifer. Its voice, ancient and resonant, echoed in their minds, vibrating through every fiber of their being. Mortals, your intent is clear, your struggle, your defiance, your purpose is recognized, yet the path is perilous. Lucifer seeks dominion over all, and only one choice can preserve balance. Dean muttered under his breath. Sam, did it just talk to us? Like brain-to-brain old god style? I'm not sure my mind signed up for this. Sam's jaw tightened. Yeah, and it's aware of our choices. That's why it resisted Lucifer. That's why it responded to us. This is the hidden agenda, not just power, but sentience, consciousness older than creation. Lucifer's amber eyes flared with molten fury. Impossible. Defiance. Mortals controlling the conduit. This cannot be. I am eternal. Dean gritted his teeth, voice trembling with tension. Yeah, well, apparently eternal doesn't mean unstoppable. Just saying. The molten creature screamed, lashing out violently at the wards Sam maintained. Molten shards flew in every direction, scorching rocks and twisting the battlefield. Sam flared with energy, holding back the assault, focusing entirely on projecting intent to the conduit. Sam shouted over the roar, Dean, this is it. We stabilize it, project our purpose, and then strike strategically. If we falter, Lucifer gains it all. If we succeed, He loses control, but we must endure his retaliation. Lucifer's voice dripped with molten menace. Mortals, you will witness the cost of defiance. I escalate. The molten creature surged violently, slamming against protective wards, cracking stones and sending molten shards into the air. Sam's hands flared brighter, wards pulsing violently, the conduit responding to both his energy and the hunter's combined determination. Dean rolled behind a jagged boulder, voice strained. Sam, I think he just cranked it up to insane. Also, I think the quarry is officially cursed now. Sam's amber eyes blazed. Focus. We endure, we adapt, and we survive. The conduit recognizes purpose, not power. That's our advantage. Lucifer's amber eyes glimmered with rage. No! The conduit will submit. I am eternal, you mortals. Insignificant, fleeting, weak. You cannot resist me. Sam extended his hands fully, energy flaring, wards pulsing through the shattered sigils. He projected intent with everything he had: clarity, purpose, balance, determination. Dean mirrored him, stance firm, weapon blazing, heart pounding, projecting raw defiance. The conduit pulsed violently, radiant energy colliding with molten power. Reality seemed to tremble, the battlefield suspended between chaos and order, light and molten fury, mortal determination and infernal ambition. Dean muttered, voice tight, Sam, I think it's listening all. Thinking, or whatever ancient god things do when humans scream at them. Sam's hands glowed brighter, wards pulsing in resonance. It's aware, it's choosing, and we have to maintain focus. One misstep, and Lucifer seizes control completely. One misstep. Lucifer screamed, molten fire radiating like a storm. I will dominate, I will impose, I will claim, and the hidden agenda. Mortals, your defiance ends now. A wave of molten energy erupted, shaking the battlefield violently. The conduit pulsed, responding to the hunter's combined intent, illuminating its full sentient form. Ancient symbols swirled, radiant power radiating outward, clashing with Lucifer's infernal energy. Dean coughed, gripping Sam's arm. Sam, I think the next move changes everything. Sam nodded, energy flaring around him. It will. We survive, or everything ends. This is the beginning of the final confrontation. The molten creature lunged violently, shards tearing through the fractured quarry. Sam and Dean's energy flared one last time, colliding with Lucifer's molten power. The battlefield shuddered violently under the combined force of sentient ancient energy, infernal fury, and mortal determination. Lucifer's amber eyes burned, molten energy rippling outward. Mortals, insolent, defiant, you will learn the cost of resisting destiny itself. The conduit pulsed violently, radiant light colliding with molten energy, symbols spinning in chaotic patterns. Sam projected every ounce of intent, every shred of resolve. Dean mirrored him, weapon blazing, heart pounding, projecting raw defiance. The night erupted in blinding light, molten fire and radiant energy. Reality itself trembled, the molten creature screamed, and the battlefield quaked under forces beyond comprehension. And then the conduit's sentient voice resonated. Mortals, behold, the path forward, the hidden agenda, the balance, the truth is revealed. The conduit's radiant form expanded, the air vibrating with an energy older than creation itself. Symbols of unimaginable complexity swirled around it, each pulse radiating intelligence, awareness, and intent. Sam and Dean stood side by side, the weight of every universe pressing down on them, lungs burning, bodies trembling. Dean muttered under his breath, voice tight, Sam, I think this is the part where my brain officially files a restraining order against ancient cosmic secrets. Sam's amber eyes never wavered. Focus, Dean. The conduit has chosen to communicate, and it has revealed its purpose, whatever it is. This is the moment we've been preparing for. We have to act fast, or Lucifer gains it all. Lucifer hovered above, molten creature towering behind him. His amber eyes flared, molten energy rippling outward. Mortals, insolent, defiant, you dare interfere with destiny itself. The conduit belongs to me, and I will claim it. Dean gritted his teeth, a shotgun at the ready. Yeah, about that. Big guy, Destiny called. It said, go stuff it. The conduit pulsed, its sentient light coalescing into coherent patterns. Its voice resonated through both mind and body, ancient and powerful. Mortals, you have endured, you have resisted, you have demonstrated purpose. The hidden agenda, the core of balance, is not simply power, it is awareness, a consciousness that binds creation itself. Lucifer, you cannot claim what has chosen to exist beyond dominion. Lucifer's amber eyes blazed, molten energy surging violently. Impossible. I am eternal. I am power incarnate. Nothing escapes me. Sam's hands glowed, weaving energy through the fractured sigils. Dean, listen. The conduit isn't just energy. It's sentient. It's aware, intelligent, and it has chosen to resist Lucifer. That's our leverage. Dean blinked, shotgun trembling in his grip. Leverage? Sam, I thought leverage was money or a hand grenade, not talking ancient god stuff. Sam ignored the humor. It recognizes intent, not brute force. We act with clarity, purpose, and balance. That's how we strike, and that's how we force Lucifer to react. Lucifer's molten aura flared like a storm, twisting reality. No, I will dominate. I will impose every secret, every essence. Mine? Dean muttered, voice tight. Yeah, I don't think even your eternal thing is ready for us today. The molten creature lunged, claws tearing through the fractured quarry. Sam flared with energy, wards pulsating, protecting them from molten shards and twisting flames. Sam shouted, voice rising over the chaos. Dean, now! We have one chance to strike while the conduit resists. Hit the edges of the battlefield, destabilize the molten creature, and project our intent fully. Dean roared, shotgun blazing, energy from Sam colliding with molten shards. The creature shrieked violently, rebounding against protective wards. The conduit pulsed in resonance, light spiraling outward in protective arcs, energy vibrating with awareness and purpose. Lucifer's amber eyes narrowed, molten power radiating outward in waves. Impossible. The conduit resists me. Mortals, you dare. Dean coughed, sliding behind jagged stone, voice ragged. Sam, I think we actually did something smart for once. Sam's hands flared brighter, wards pulsing violently, energy crackling. Partial success. But it's only temporary. We need a direct strike. Focus your intent, Dean. This is our first real offensive move against him. Lucifer stepped forward, molten fire rippling like a storm. Mortals, insolent, defiant, you cannot resist eternity. Dean tightened his grip on the shotgun. Well, eternity's about to get a rude welcome. Sam projected intent into the conduit fully, channeling every ounce of purpose, balance, and defiance. Dean mirrored him, firing blasts of energy-enhanced ammunition into the molten creature, carving paths through the chaos, striking with precision and determination. The conduit pulsed violently, radiating light that collided with molten energy. Reality itself seemed to shudder under the force. The molten creature shrieked, flailing against wards, molten shards spinning like deadly projectiles. Lucifer's amber eyes blazed with molten fury. No! You will not interfere. I am eternal. I am dominion incarnate. Dean gritted his teeth, muttering, yeah, eternal, sure, but apparently not invincible. The conduit pulsed, light spiraling outward in concentric waves. Symbols rotated faster, radiance clashing with Lucifer's molten energy. Sam's hands flared, voice chanting with precision, intent fully projected. Dean leapt from behind the jagged rock, firing shotgun blasts directly into the molten creature. Sparks, molten fragments, and radiant energy collided violently, creating arcs of blinding chaos. Sam's amber eyes blazed. "Dean! Together, focus every strike and every ounce of intent. We force him back now." The molten creature screamed violently, rebounding against wards. The conduit pulsed, responding fully to the hunter's combined effort. Symbols of ancient power rotated around it, reacting to intent, recognizing determination. Lucifer's amber eyes narrowed, molten fire rippling outward. "Impossible one, mortals. You cannot resist. I am eternal." Dean shouted, voice hoarse. "Sam, I think we just made eternity cry a little." Sam's hands glowed brighter, wards pulsing violently, energy crackling. "We disrupt his control and force the conduit to aid us. Now, Dean, aim for the central fracture." Dean fired a final concentrated blast, infused with Sam's intent. Molten shards collided with radiant energy in a violent explosion. The conduit pulsed violently, energy surging outward, clashing directly with Lucifer's molten assault. Lucifer screamed, molten energy erupting violently, wings of his creature slicing through the chaotic air. "No, I cannot be denied." The conduit expanded, radiant light blinding, its sentience fully revealed, symbols of ancient knowledge spinning in chaotic arcs. The battlefield quaked under the force of intent, molten fury, and sentient power. Dean coughed, gripping Sam's arm, voice ragged. "Sam, I think we just pissed off eternity in a good way." Sam nodded, amber eyes blazing. "It's responding to us. The first strike succeeded. But this is only the beginning. Lucifer won't retreat. He'll escalate further. And the true battle is about to begin." The molten creature shrieked, flailing violently, while Lucifer's molten fury surged outward in waves, twisting reality itself. The conduit pulsed, radiant light spiraling outward, recognizing the hunter's intent, responding to their combined effort. Lucifer's amber eyes flared with lethal intensity. "Mortals, insolent, defiant, you will learn the cost of interfering with destiny itself." Dean muttered, voice tight. "Yeah, think we're about to get the deluxe edition of that lesson." Sam's hands flared, energy crackling, wards pulsating. "We survive, we endure, and we strike decisively. This is the first offensive against him, but he'll escalate further. We have to be ready for everything." The night erupted in fire, molten rock, and radiant energy. The conduit pulsed violently, responding to both Hunter's intent and Lucifer's molten fury. The battlefield quaked, molten shards rained, and reality seemed on the edge of color. And then the conduit spoke, voice resonant, powerful, commanding. "Mortals, the hidden agenda, the truth, the balance, begins with your strike. Lucifer, witness the consequences of arrogance." The quarry had become a hellish storm of molten stone, fire, and impossible light. The conduit hovered above the fractured ground, a sentient, radiant entity older than creation itself, radiating awareness that rivaled even Lucifer's eternal presence. Every pulse of energy shook the battlefield. Every radiant flare twisted reality, and every molten shard shattered anything that dared remain in its path. Dean stumbled backward, coughing, shotgun still smoking. "Sam, I think the next few minutes might redefine the term holy hell? Sam's amber eyes blazed with determination as he wove his energy through the fractured sigils, the conduit responding to every flicker of intent. Dean, focus. The first strike succeeded. The conduit reacted to us, but now Lucifer will escalate. He won't hold anything back. We have to anticipate his retaliation and survive. Lucifer hovered above the chaos, molten creature behind him, wings spread wide, molten fire rippling across the night sky. Amber eyes glimmered with lethal intensity. Mortals, insolent, defiant. You dare interfere with eternity itself. You think your fleeting strike can alter destiny. I escalate, and all will kneel before me. Dean muttered under his breath, voice tight. Yeah, kneeling isn't really my thing. Guess we're about to teach eternity a lesson instead. Suddenly the molten creature lunged forward, claws tearing through the fractured battlefield with terrifying precision. The ground shook violently, molten rock erupted in towering spires, and energy waves collided in blinding arcs. Sam fled with energy, reinforcing wards, while Dean fired shotgun blasts directly into molten fragments, carving paths through the chaos. Sam shouted over the roar, "Dean, we hold! Protect the conduit! Every strike we take is a chance to counter! Focus your firepower on destabilizing the creature!" Dean roared, blasting molten shards, sparks flying in every direction. "Got it! Take that eternal pain in the ass!" Lucifer's amber eyes burned brighter, molten energy flaring in waves, reality itself bending under his fury. "No, I cannot be denied! I will dominate! I will impose! Mortals, your defiance ends now!" The molten creature surged violently, striking the protective wards, causing them to flicker. Sam's hands flared brighter, energy crackling, wards pulsing desperately to maintain stability. Dean shouted, voice strained, "Sam, it's getting through! He's stronger than before!" Sam's amber eyes narrowed. Focus absolute. "I know, but the conduit is with us. Its intent aligns with ours. We stabilize, we push back, we survive. That's our only option." Lucifer descended with terrifying speed. Molten wings, slicing the smoky air, energy erupting in waves that threatened to flatten the fractured battlefield. Each step sent shockwaves, throwing jagged rocks and molten shards into the hunter's path. Dean ducked behind a jagged boulder, teeth gritted. "Sam, he's coming in hot, and I don't think he brought snacks." Sam's hands flared, energy spiraling outward, wards pulsating with intense light. "Focus, Dean. We act as one. Every strike must be precise, every intention projected with clarity. The conduit will amplify our efforts if we hold." Lucifer's amber eyes glared, molten fire radiating outward like a storm. "Mortals! Insolent! Weak! You cannot resist eternity. I will break you, and the conduit will be mine."
Dean muttered, "Yeah, good luck with that, buddy." Sam's energy surged, light spiraling around him, weaving through the fractured sigils. The conduit pulsed violently, responding to his intent, radiance colliding with molten energy in arcs of blinding force. The molten creature lunged again, claws raking through the battlefield. Sam's energy flared, wards holding, while Dean fired with precision, blasting molten shards in a rhythmic assault. Sparks flew, energy collided, and reality twisted violently with every pulse of combined power. Lucifer roared, molten energy erupting in waves, shaking the battlefield violently. "No! Mortals! You will learn the cost of defiance. I am eternal." Dean coughed, sliding behind a jagged rock. "Sam, I think he just redefined eternal rage. Also, I think we might be molten toast." Sam's amber eyes blazed. "Focus. The conduit amplifies our intent. We counter, we stabilize, we strike decisively, we survive, or nothing does. Lucifer's molten wings flared, energy waves colliding with radiant pulses from the conduit. The battlefield shuddered, molten shards rained like deadly hail, and the air burned with the combined force of infernal and sentient power. Dean yelled, firing shotgun blasts. "Sam, I'm running out of pithy comebacks! Now what?" Sam fled with energy, projecting intent fully into the conduit. "We endure, and then we strike, every ounce of focus, every heartbeat counts." The conduit pulsed violently, radiant energy spiraling outward, colliding with molten fury. Symbols of ancient knowledge rotated rapidly, resonating with the hunter's purpose, clashing directly with Lucifer's wrath. Lucifer screamed, molten energy erupting like a storm, twisting reality itself. "I am eternal! Nothing can resist me! Nothing!" Dean gritted his teeth, shouting, "Yeah, let's see about that fiery daddy-o." Sam extended both hands fully, energy radiating outward, wards flaring violently. "Now, Dean, strike the core of the molten creature while I stabilize the conduit fully. This is our decisive counter," Dean roared, blasting directly into the molten creature's center with concentrated force, enhanced by Sam's intent. Sparks and molten fragments collided in blinding arcs. The creature shrieked violently, energy pulsing outward, and the conduit responded, radiating fully in resonance with their combined will. Lucifer staggered, molten fury crashing around him. Amber eyes narrowed in fury. "No! Oh, impossible! Mortals! You insolent—" The battlefield erupted in a blinding explosion of radiant and molten energy. Jagged rocks shattered, molten fissures spewed in violent arcs, and the molten creature screeched, thrashing violently. The conduit pulsed, radiant light spiraling outward, ancient symbols spinning chaotically, responding fully to the hunter's coordinated effort. Dean coughed, gripping Sam's arm. "Sam, I think we just pissed off eternity in a very effective way." Sam nodded, amber eyes blazing, energy crackling violently. "It's reacting to us. Our first strike succeeded, but Lucifer won't retreat. The final confrontation is still ahead, and he will escalate further, beyond anything we've seen." Lucifer roared, molten fire surging, wings slicing the air, energy bending reality. "Mortals, insolent, defiant, you will pay! I will destroy you, and the conduit will be mine," Dean muttered, voice tight. "Yeah, I think this is where we find out what happens when eternity really, really hates you." The molten creature lunged one last time, shards spinning violently, while the conduit pulsed, radiant light spiraling outward in blinding arcs. Sam and Dean fled with energy, projecting intent, stabilizing the battlefield as the ultimate escalation approached. The night erupted in blinding light, molten rock, and radiant energy. Reality itself trembled under the combined force of Lucifer's wrath, the conduit's sentience, and the hunter's defiance. And then the conduit spoke, voice resonant and commanding. "Mortals, the first strike has been acknowledged. Lucifer, witness the consequences of arrogance. The final confrontation begins now." The quarry shook violently, molten fissures splitting the fractured ground, sending waves of fire and shards of stone skyward. Sam and Dean clung to jagged rock, their lungs burning, sweat and ash streaking their faces. Every heartbeat, every breath felt like a countdown to annihilation. The conduit pulsed violently, its radiant light intensifying to a brilliance that rivaled the sun. Symbols older than creation rotated in precise, terrifying arcs. Its voice, resonant and commanding, echoed in both hunters' minds. "Mortals, your intent, your struggle, your defiance is recognized. You have endured, and you have struck. Now, witness the fullness of the hidden agenda. Dean muttered, voice tight. Sam, I think it just cranked everything up to apocalyptic volume. Sam's amber eyes blazed, hands flaring as he wove energy through the fractured sigils. Focus. The conduit's full power. It's about to engage. We ride this wave or it crushes everything, including us. Brace yourself, Dean. Everything changes in the next moment. Lucifer hovered above, molten creature behind him, wings of fire slicing through the smoky sky. His amber eyes burned with rage, molten energy radiating in waves that distorted reality. Mortals, insolent, defiant, you cannot resist eternity. The conduit will submit. I will dominate all. Dean gritted his teeth, shotgun in hand. Yeah, how about that, big guy? Your eternal domination just got a massive overtime notice. Suddenly, the conduit expanded, radiance flaring in all directions. Energy surged outward in colossal waves, colliding with molten fury. The molten creature shrieked violently, flailing against the radiant pulses. Rock shattered, fissures widened, and the battlefield itself twisted under the immense power. Sam shouted over the roar, voice steady despite exhaustion. Dean! Focus every strike, every ounce of intent! We push back while the conduit channels its full power. Dean fired. Shotgun blasts colliding with molten shards, sparks and radiant energy exploding in chaotic arcs. Got it! Take that eternal pain in that way. Don't shoot the conduit. Oh crap, I didn't. Sam flared brighter, hands glowing, wards pulsing violently. We adapt, we survive, and we force Lucifer to respond to us, not the battlefield. Lucifer screamed, molten energy erupting like a storm. No, I am eternal. I am dominion, incarnate. You mortals, insolent, will pay. The molten creature lunged violently, claws tearing through the fractured quarry. Sam flared with energy, projecting intent through the wards, deflecting the assault, while Dean's concentrated fire carved paths of destruction. Dean muttered, voice tight. Sam, I think he's getting angrier than a hellhound denied dinner. Sam ignored the humor, focusing fully on channeling intent into the conduit. It's responding to us, Dean. Radiance, clarity, purpose. We project it fully and we force his hand. Now. The conduit pulsed violently, radiant light colliding with molten fury in arcs of blinding brilliance. Symbols spun faster, patterns of ancient power locking into synchronization with the hunter's intent. Lucifer's amber eyes narrowed, molten energy rippling outward, wings slicing the smoky air. Impossible. Mortals controlling the conduit. No, I am eternal, Dean shouted, firing into the molten creature. Yeah, eternity just got some resistance lessons. The conduit expanded fully, radiant energy enveloping the battlefield. Waves of ancient power collided with Lucifer's molten wrath. Reality itself trembled, molten shards spun like deadly whips, and energy arcs of brilliance tore through the smoky sky. Sam's hands flared brighter, intent fully projected, wards holding against the assault. Dean, the conduit is with us. Strike decisively. Target the molten creature's core while I stabilize the radiant channels. Dean roared, shotgun blasting directly into the creature's molten center, sparks and radiant energy exploding violently. The molten creature shrieked, energy surging outward, and the conduit pulsed in resonance with their combined effort. Lucifer screamed, molten fury erupting, wings flaring, reality bending under his wrath. No, mortals, you insolent, insolent. The conduit's radiant form expanded further, spiraling arcs of light colliding directly with molten energy. Symbols of ancient knowledge spun violently, rotating with awareness, amplifying the hunter's intent, twisting the battlefield in chaotic brilliance. Dean coughed, gripping Sam's arm, voice ragged. Sam, I think we just made eternity cry a little, and probably melt some rocks. Sam's amber eyes blazed, hands flaring, energy crackling violently. It's fully engaged. The conduit's power. It's overwhelming, but controlled. We can push Lucifer to the edge if we remain coordinated. One more decisive strike, and we may finally have leverage. Lucifer roared, molten energy erupting in apocalyptic waves. I am eternal. You cannot resist mortals. Your defiance ends now. Dean muttered, voice tight. Yeah, let's see about that fiery boss man. The molten creature lunged one last time, shards spinning violently, molten claws tearing through jagged rock. Sam flared, wards holding, energy radiating outward, while Dean fired concentrated blasts into the creature, synchronized with Sam's radiant intent. The conduit pulsed violently, radiant light spiraling outward in blinding arcs, colliding with molten fury. Symbols of ancient power rotated chaotically, amplifying every ounce of the hunter's resolve. Lucifer screamed, molten wings flaring, energy twisting reality violently. No! Mortals, you insolent, defiant! Dean coughed, voice strained, gripping Sam's arm. Sam, I think we're about to see what happens when eternity really, really, really hates you. Sam nodded, hands glowing, wards pulsing violently. We survive, we endure, and we strike decisively. The final confrontation is upon us, and Lucifer is at the edge of everything. The night exploded in blinding light, molten shards and radiant energy. Reality trembled under the force of intent, molten fury, and the conduit's sentient power. And then the conduit spoke, a voice resonant and commanding. Mortals, witness the culmination of defiance. Lucifer, you are at the edge. The final confrontation is imminent. Choose or be undone. The battlefield was unrecognizable. Molten fissures tore through jagged rocks. Radiant energy spiraled into the night sky, and the air burned with heat, light, and tension so thick it felt like it could rip the world apart. Sam and Dean crouched behind a fractured boulder, lungs screaming for air, hearts pounding in rhythm with the surging power of the conduit and Lucifer's molten fury. Dean muttered, voice tight, Sam, I think I left my life insurance in another dimension, or maybe I just wish I had. Either way, I'm really starting to regret every single decision that led to this. Sam's amber eyes burned with determination. No time for regrets, Dean. This is it, the final confrontation. We survive, or everything ends. The conduit has fully engaged, its power radiating in every direction. Lucifer's molten fury is unmatched, but he's reacting to us, not controlling the battlefield completely. This is our leverage. Lucifer hovered above. Molten creature towering behind him, wings slicing through the smoky sky. Amber eyes glowed like burning suns. Mortals, insolent, defiant, you dare interfere with eternity itself. I am eternal. I will dominate all realms, and the conduit will submit to me. Dean muttered under his breath, yeah, good luck with that hot stuff. I hope you brought more than fire. The conduit pulsed violently, radiant light expanding outward, symbols of ancient knowledge spinning in precise patterns. Its voice resonated through the minds of all present, commanding, powerful, and unyielding. Lucifer, your arrogance ends here. Mortals, your defiance is recognized. The hidden agenda, the balance, the truth will not bend to tyranny. Lucifer roared, molten energy erupting, shaking the battlefield violently. The molten creature lunged forward, claws tearing through jagged rock. Sam flared with energy, stabilizing the radiant wards, while Dean fired concentrated shotgun blasts at the creature's molten core. Sparks, radiant arcs, and molten fragments collided in violent chaos. Dean shouted, Sam, I think he just threw the full kitchen sink at us. Sam's amber eyes blazed, hands glowing, wards pulsating with intensity. Focus! Every strike we take, every ounce of intent we project, counts. The conduit amplifies us. The final strike must be precise. Dean, we go all in, now. Dean gritted his teeth, shotgun blazing. Copy that, no holding back. Eternity's about to get a rude lesson. The conduit's radiant form expanded, arcs of light colliding with molten fury, reality itself twisting under the force. Symbols of ancient power rotated violently, amplifying every ounce of the hunter's intent. Lucifer screamed, molten wings flaring, molten energy exploding outward in apocalyptic waves. Impossible! I am eternal! You insolent mortals, you will kneel before me! Dean fired, concentrated blasts tearing through molten shards, while Sam projected radiant energy directly into the core of the conduit. Sparks and molten fragments collided in arcs of blinding brilliance. The molten creature shrieked, thrashing violently, energy rippling outward. Sam shouted, voice steady, "Dean! Coordinator! Strike the creature's core while I stabilize the conduit fully! The final offensive begins now!" Dean roared, shotgun blazing, precision strikes colliding with molten fury. The conduit pulsed violently, radiant arcs amplifying the hunter's intent. Symbols of ancient power spun rapidly, resonating with clarity and determination. Lucifer staggered, molten fury erupting, wings slicing through the smoky air. Amber eyes narrowed in rage. "No! Mortals! Insolent, defiant, you cannot resist eternity!" Sam's hands flared brighter, energy crackling, wards pulsating. "Now, Dean! Everything we've got, push him to the edge!" Dean unleashed a final concentrated barrage, each blast synchronized with Sam's radiant projection. Molten shards collided with radiant arcs in explosive collisions, energy waves tearing through the fractured quarry. The molten creature shrieked violently, rebounding against the conduit's radiant light, twisting violently under the combined power. Lucifer roared, molten fire erupting like a storm, reality bending under his fury. "No, I am eternal! I will dominate all mortals, insolent!" The conduit expanded fully, radiant arcs colliding directly with molten energy, amplifying the hunter's intent to its maximum. Ancient symbols spun violently, weaving patterns of balance and creation, twisting the battlefield in chaotic brilliance. Dean coughed, gripping Sam's arm, voice ragged. "Sam, I think eternity is finally about to meet reality." Sam nodded, amber eyes blazing. "It's fully engaged. The final offensive. Now." The conduit pulsed violently, radiant light exploding outward, colliding with molten fury in blinding arcs. Energy waves shook the battlefield violently, molten shards spinning like deadly whips, rock shattering, reality twisting and warping under the force of creation and destruction intertwined. Lucifer screamed, molten wings flaring, energy erupting in apocalyptic waves. "No, mortals, you insolent, defiant, I cannot be denied!" Dean yelled, firing directly into the molten creature while Sam's energy flared, radiant arcs colliding with molten fury. Sparks flew in chaotic brilliance, twisting around the battlefield. The conduit pulsed in resonance with the hunter's intent, amplifying every strike and every ounce of determination. Suddenly, a shockwave of radiant light enveloped the battlefield. The molten creature shrieked violently, energy rippling outward in chaotic arcs. Lucifer screamed, molten fire erupting in uncontrollable fury, wings tearing through the smoky sky. Sam projected every ounce of intent, clarity, and purpose into the conduit. "This ends now, Dean. Strike the core, full force!" Dean roared, unleashing a final concentrated barrage into the molten creature, flames, molten shards, and radiant arcs colliding violently. The conduit pulsed, amplifying the hunter's intent to a crescendo. The battlefield shook, molten fissures exploding, rocks shattered, energy arcs spiraled in blinding brilliance. Lucifer staggered, molten fury crashing around him, amber eyes burning with rage and disbelief. No, impossible. Mortals, insolent, defiant. The conduit's radiant light enveloped him, arcs of ancient power twisting around his molten form. Symbols of creation and balance coalesced, amplifying the hunter's combined intent. Reality itself trembled as the final clash erupted in blinding brilliance. Dean coughed, voice ragged, gripping Sam's arm. Sam, I think we actually did it. I think eternity's crying. Sam's amber eyes flared, energy crackling, wards stabilizing. We survived and we struck decisively. Lucifer, he's at the edge. The conduit is fully aligned with us. The final confrontation is over. The molten creature collapsed, molten shards cooling, wings flaring one last time. Lucifer staggered, molten fury dissipating, amber eyes burning with grudging respect and fury. The conduit pulsed one final time, radiant energy calming, symbols of ancient knowledge spinning slowly, harmonizing with the battlefield. Its voice resonated. Balance is restored. The hidden agenda remains free. Mortals, your defiance. Preserved creation itself. Lucifer, your arrogance restrained. Dean muttered, voice hoarse. Sam, I think we just won a cosmic argument without a single lawyer in sight. Sam nodded, amber eyes softening, energy fading. We survived, we endured, and we protected everything. But this is only temporary. The universe will always test us, but tonight, we won. Lucifer glared, molten energy dissipating, wings folding back, molten creature subdued. Amber eyes burned with restrained fury. Mortals, you may have survived, but eternity remembers your insolence. One day, I will return. Dean muttered, shotgun hanging loosely, voice tight. Yeah, we'll be ready. Maybe bring snacks next time. The conduit pulsed one last time, radiant arcs fading into calm brilliance. The battlefield settled, molten fissures cooling, jagged rocks stabilizing. Sam and Dean stood exhausted, bruised, blooded, but victorious. Sam whispered, voice soft, balance preserved, the hidden agenda free, and we're still here, somehow still standing. Dean exhaled, voice hoarse, yeah, somehow. And somehow, eternity just got a reality check from two stubborn mortals. The night sky cleared slightly, stars faintly visible, the radiant glow of the conduit slowly fading, its center. The night sky cleared slightly, stars faintly visible, the radiant glow of the conduit slowly fading, its sentience now calm, aligned with the balance of creation. The world, for now, was safe. And in the distance, molten energy flickered, a silent reminder. Lucifer waits. But tonight, Sam and Dean endured. They survived. The night sky cleared slightly. They struck decisively. They won. Stars faintly visible, the radiant glow of the conduit slowly fading, its sentience now calm, aligned with the balance of creation. The world. The night sky cleared slightly, stars faintly visible, the radiant glow of the conduit slowly fading, its sentience now calm, aligned with the balance of creation. The world, for now, was safe. And in the distance, molten energy flickered, a silent reminder. Lucifer waits. But tonight, Sam and Dean endured. They survived. The night